All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's going on? Good to see you. Hello. Welcome everyone to the second episode of Fate of the Exocortex. I'm excited. This is going to be fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show as well. Good to see you all. Welcome. DOS gentlemen, hello. DJ Boy, good to see you. How are you today? Dr. Nate, hello. Salutations, greetings. Happy Friday, guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend. A little note before we get things started. I want to kind of explain how this is going to work. Basically, hey Daily, what's up, man? Basically, here's how it works. Here's how this works tonight. We're not going to have any sound effects on. We're not going to have the bot running. We're not going to have any tacos or anything like that going tonight. Also, Crystal, thank you for the host. Also, one of the things that's important to realize is that I will not be able to interact with you guys as much as I would normally like to, because I'm going to be engaged in the story here. This is totally a viewing experience. So if you want to, I will do some typing interacting with you, and if we take a break, then I'll totally talk to you guys. But there chances are I will not be able to speak to you guys. So, yeah. So if you want to come on in and have a seat and enjoy some cyberpunk awesomeness, that would be fantastic. Let's make this happen. All right, guys. I'm going to switch things over right now. Give me just a second while I get this rolling. It's good to see you guys. I'm so pumped. All right, let's go.
Welcome to our learning farm.
Okay, guys. Hello?
Hello.
Testing
Hey,
1, 2, 3. You guys ready?
Why?
I think some of us are.
Okay. Well,
So I'll start.
all right, guys. This is James, Aaron, Saren, Nate, and myself. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the show. Let's make this go. James, you're
Awesome. Hey, I'm James Marston. I'll be running this game here. We're going to be playing Fate Accelerated. We're going to be using the Roll20 virtual tabletop. We're doing a cyberpunk game, and it's a very narrative game, so there's not a whole lot of crunchy structure to kind of get used to. It's just you go with the flow in the story. The characters have some stats that affect the flow of the story, but the focus is almost always on the story, and the rules second to that. The players want to introduce themselves and their characters.
Sebastian Chrome, go.
Boom.
Hi, my name's Nate. I'm a steel worker. I live in Massachusetts, and I am playing Sebastian Chrome, who is a good guy in a bad world and really good at getting into trouble in places he's not supposed to be, amongst other things.
Lee, you're up.
My name's Aaron, and I'm playing Lee Bansky, who is a rebel artist and computer programmer.
And has a peanut gallery this time.
Get a job!
Get a job. Oh boy. My name is Rage Mage, or Darren. Either one you can call me. I'm playing Tom J5, a socks and sandals giant nerd dude with an anger complex.
I'm Saren. I'm playing Jax. I'm playing a kind of rogue media personality doing pirate news reports on anti-corporation stuff.
And a complete badass.
Definitely a stone cold
Bonus.
badass.
That is a thing. It's true.
All right. So before we jump into the action, I'm just going to review a little bit about the setting. Fate is a game of aspects, and we picked a number of aspects to sort of define the world and the setting. The cyberpunk is the genre, so the whole thing is going to be futuristic, but not like super futuristic. Think like Blade Runner or maybe Shadowrun minus magic and elves. The world is cold, hard, and dark. And what that means is everything in this world is more or less hopeless. It's a world where nothing is easy, where empathy is sort of hard to come by, and the future looks pretty grim for most of the people who are in it. The aesthetic is chrome, wires, mirrors, and neon. So when we're describing the setting, we want to try and picture things that are this cyberpunk-ish, but like kind of high-tech and dark. Reality is augmented, disposable, and subjective. Nearly everyone in this setting has some degree of cyberware and perceives sort of augmented reality or AR all the time. So they either have an implant in their eye or in their brain that makes that a second reality they're always interacting with. In general, the rich will live in their own world, their own augmented realities. They'll pay to have the world filtered to kind of fit their aesthetics and their values. And they'll see the less fortunate as disposable and almost living in an entirely different reality. Another fact about the setting is the grind. The grind is real, which means that you can't just float in this society. You have to work constantly all the time just to survive, just to keep your head above water. The grind, if you're in a corporate setting, is towing the corporate line and making sure you're hitting your deadlines and filling out your forms and stuff. But if you're on the streets, like our players are, the grind means that there's no such thing as a free lunch, that you have to work for everything, you have to earn everything, and that's a constant struggle. In the setting, corp control is everywhere. So there are a couple of really big mega corporations that are really the players in the world, and they're bigger than governments, they're bigger than movements or revolutions. They're like omnipresent and control almost everything. The last is the stars are beyond our reach. And what that means is that in this setting, sort of like a little like Blade Runner, the population of Earth is growing to such an extent that it can't really support the population that's on it anymore. And the rich people, the people who are in charge of the corporations, the executives, have started moving out of the sphere of Earth and into orbital habitats. And that's given some room to breathe on the planet, but not enough. And there's definitely this future within sight that humanity is outgrowing its home, and that inability to move beyond our world into other worlds or other star systems is really starting to be like a death knell for humanity. So that's the cheerful setting that we'll be playing in.
Yay! So cheerful.
And in the game.
Boom. All right. So when last we left our heroes, they had awakened without memory for an indeterminate amount of time. They were in a tense, dangerous situation. They didn't know how they got into that place or why. And they had to kind of get out of a dangerous situation and then regroup at Sebastian Chrome's apartment and start trying to piece together what happened to them. Jax called a contact of hers who worked for one of the corporations that they felt like was involved, and they set up a meeting and they went to that meeting. And that at that meeting, they were discovered by Corp Security, and they had to kind of ditch out of that conflict rather than getting caught. There were a bunch of details in there. Does anyone have any details they feel like are relevant that they want to bring up?
Sorry, I'm busy working on tech stuff. All fucked up suddenly. So.
All right, that's okay. Do your tech stuff. Anyone else have any thoughts?
Well, we know we're missing Sigma. There seems to be one other person on our network who isn't here.
Boom. What do we know about Sigma so far?
She seems like a total awesome badass, at least by the picture you presented. And she seems to be in trouble and not online.
All right.
So the impression I got of Sigma was she's a total badass, just like Jack said. She has an amazing reputation for taking down entire squads of Marines and Corp Security and all sorts of amazing nasty stuff. And my theory is that she actually probably designed this whole amazing network thing that we're on.
Cool. And one of the things that happened just towards the end of the last session was they got Jack's contact out of danger, and then they kind of heard a message from Sigma in their cyberware indicating that maybe she was in some danger. Yeah.
She said they have me.
Yeah. So I want to walk this line where I'm not spending all my time recapping everything that people already know. But if anyone in chat jumps in with a question or wants a recap or isn't sure where we're at, Rage, if you'd let me know, I'll certainly stop and recap anything we need to recap.
Sounds good.
Okay. Very good. So we join our heroes on the streets of the Boss Wash Metroplex. They are a couple of blocks away from the bar that they had the meeting at. That was the circus. And now you're sort of gathered there and trying to think about what's next. Some of the balls that are still in the air is Jax has asked her contact to look into a person who named Vasily Dow. And Vasily Dow we haven't seen in the game yet, except that Sebastian, who has the ability to change his face with cyberware, looked like Vasily Dow when they came to consciousness. And Sebastian has a house guest who is a 12-year-old or so kid with some cyberware who thinks that Sebastian is looking for Vasily Dow, who is his father. Any other balls in the air I'm not thinking of?
Nope, not that I can think of.
Awesome. Then, you guys are there on the streets. What's next?
All right, so we just got the message. I think we all got it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have to go find Sigma. Let's go. I think we should go to what was that bar? Clock Tower 5. I think that was it. What do you think? And I'm obviously visibly upset.
Sure. I mean, I agree we need to find her. If you think the bar's a good start, then let's go.
It's the only clue I have right now.
That's one more clue than I got, so let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay. So you make your way to Clock Tower 5. Clock Tower 5 is a shadow bar, which means that it's a bar that's frequented by the sort of shadow community. The underground, these operators who work on the streets outside of corp control, have developed a sort of shadow culture in the Boss Wash Metroplex. So they have their own sort of communication hubs, they have their own places that they gather, and Clock Tower 5 is part of that. It doesn't have the same reputation as the circus. The circus was a little bit rougher. The circus was a place where everyone who was there was in the biz and in the world in a pretty big way. Clock Tower 5, from what you've heard so far, has a different sort of reputation. It's a little bit more of a techie place. It's a place where computer programmers and mechanics and technicians will gather to sort of compare notes and talk about technology. It's still part of that shadow culture, but it is not the place where badasses go. It's the place where nerds go.
Just a different kind of badass, right?
My house.
Yeah, not that nerds can't be badasses. So Clock Tower 5 on the outside, it doesn't look like much. It's part of a much larger building that has apartments kind of stacked on top of it, up 10 or 15 stories. The building doesn't quite reach the top of the mega structure that contains the Boss Wash Metroplex, but it's pretty tall. The bottom block is pretty solid. There's no alleyways. It's just this like solid block of buildings all connected. So you walk past a bunch of different storefronts as you're getting closer to Clock Tower 5. From the outside, Clock Tower 5 looks like a cement building or cement exterior with open doors and a shutter that's withdrawn. But its AR is alive. As you get closer, the entire front of the building in AR is covered with interlocking clockwork gears spinning with each other. And as you approach, the gears start to kind of churn against each other, and a strictly AR sort of portcullis rises as you approach, as you walk through the front door of Clock Tower 5. As you walk in, it's a fairly open concept sort of place. There's no dance floor here like there was at the circus. Instead, there are many booths around the edges of the establishment, and there's a couple of free like tables in the middle. It's getting pretty late at this point, so it's not super busy in here. But you do see patrons that sort of catch your eye. Two of them in particular catch your eye. Both of them are wearing kind of nice, little higher end clothes, and they stand out. Everyone else is kind of wearing street clothes to varying degrees of fashionable, but these two are more dressed for business. And let's see, which one of you has been in trouble with the law before?
Which one of us hasn't?
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
So all of you see these guys, and it just screams cop to you. It's their municipal law enforcement. They're probably detectives, and everyone in the bar is trying really hard not to catch their attention. And of course, they are going to notice you guys as you walk in. So before we dig into that, I want to talk about fate points real quick. So your fate points refresh up to 3 at the beginning of the session, unless you already have more than 3. So if any of you are at the point where you were kind of stockpiling them and you're over 3, you keep those. But any of you who spent them and are under 3 can reset your fate points to 3.
Excellent, thank you.
No problem. I believe it. But in this moment, as you're walking into the bar, the 2 detectives notice you. It seems like the one of you whose trouble lends itself best to this situation is probably J5, because it can't rain all the time, except it does. So I'm going to offer you a compel here on your trouble, and say that one of these 2 fine detectives here not only recognizes you, but actually has had a run-in with you in the past.
Okay.
And if you deny it, it's going to cost you a fate point. But if you accept it, then things are going to get a little bit more complicated for you, because one of these detectives knows you.
Oh, no, I accept that.
Okay. So we're going to say Detective Costas. What was the situation with you and Detective Costas?
I'm going to say that the situation with me and Detective Costas was that he is the abusive lover of the HR lady.
Wow. All right. I like it. So let's see. Your HR lady's name was Linda.
Linda, the HR person.
Okay, Linda.
We were good friends, she and I.
So you didn't like him. Did you guys interact with each other, or did they just know you by reputation?
Both. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that I had some conversations with him, because Linda and I were very good friends, and he took it upon himself to then harass me a lot.
Okay. Did he get violent?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And how'd that resolve?
I probably put a gun in his face.
Okay. So things are pretty tense between the 2 of you.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Well-deserved fate point. Okay, so you got that. So before we get to their reaction, I'm going to actually change the map here real quick. We're going to go back over here. So Detective Costas and his and his partner are front and center there. Other people that you notice in the room are, and I'm gonna. Whoa!
Some nasty feedback there.
Yeah. I'm gonna take credit for that and say, "Excuse me." Nice. So one of the people you see is a large man with some obvious cybernetics. He's got a dark skin, a short dark hair, looks like a sort of military cut, and he is standing near the door, sort of in the corner. He's got a kind of a big, heavy coat on that you would guarantee is probably armored, and he is watching the 2 detectives very warily, and it's not quite to the point where you think he's going to do something, but he is about ready to do something, and he's clearly sort of on edge. Another person in the room is... No, that's not the right one. Is a heavily modified cyborg. She's female. It's kind of hard to make out her nationality because she's so heavily modified.
She's amazing.
Really heavily modified hands. And as she's sitting near the bar with her back against it, and she's got one hand tapping on the bar, and it's like a typewriter going, all the different nails of the typewriter going. It's rapid fire, and it's almost damaging the bar because each of the points of the fingers are so pointed and so hard. And her other hand is just kind of moving lazily back and forth in front of her, and the fingers are flexing all the way backwards and then all the way forwards, one at a time, back and forth.
Okay, that's horrible.
And she's kind of smiling and looking at the group of you as you walked in. She seems to be pointedly ignoring the detectives. You also see another fairly heavy modified gentleman who's dressed pretty stylishly, and he's got a drone that's floating around his head on with sort of like 4 fan jets on it, and it's just kind of doing the slow circle around him. He's sitting at one of the tables, and he's crouched pretty low in the seat. But from what you can tell, he was very intently watching the 2 detectives as well. And lastly, I'm not going to pop this guy's picture up, but this last guy over here looks like a drunk. Like, just he has a drink in his hand. He's kind of doing that weaving thing and kind of leaning heavily on the bar. And he seems out of place. He's keeps looking at the detectives, and seems like he might be getting close to saying something to them, but you're not sure why he would. Like, he is just does not hit your radar as a badass in any way, nerd or otherwise. He's just out of his depths. Okay. So the 2 detectives. So before I jump into the detectives, does anyone want to do anything before they, as they're entering the room?
If I may, one of the things I would like to do is, as soon as I walk in, I want to see networks. I want to see who's connected to who.
Okay. So go ahead and make a clever check to overcome difficulty of 2. Nice. 4. Perfect. Okay. So you discover like sort of the computer networks in here. And how do you picture that happening? Do you like eyes glaze over, or do you have to do some activity? What does it look like when you do that?
I probably so I wear sunglasses a lot, but I probably don't move very much. Like the people here would be familiar with. I just kind of stop moving, and it's like I'm obviously reading something or thinking about something really hard. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So you kind of stall out for just a second, and you start kind of using the AR and your own internal cybernetics to start to get a read for the different connections that are in the room. The connections you find are that... I'm going to do this in yellow. This guy is connected to this guy. This guy is connected to this guy. And it looks a little like she is trying to interface with you guys. Oh, I should do that in a different color. That was 4. Because that's not ideal. Try that again. We'll do this color. So it looks like she's putting out some, from her cybernetics, she's putting out some RF frequency pulses, and it's completely bouncing. It's like not even hitting the radar as a call or a message or any sort of communication. It's like she's trying to access your cyberware directly, and it's just not having any effect whatsoever.
Okay.
Anyone else want to do anything?
I want to take a quick sweep of the room and just record everything, kind of to go back for details later.
Okay. So you sweep the room and just kind of look back and forth, and your onboard media suite kicks in with just a thought, and you've got not only the visual and the audio of that experience, of that moment of looking around, but you even have the tactile sensations of what it feels like to stand in the bar.
These upgrades are so great.
All right. Anyone else?
I'm going to stick near J5 until he's done, just to make sure he's not vulnerable.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead.
the best way to stand out, of course, is to stick around in the doorway of these other three people I clearly don't know.
Right.
So I move past them and take a seat at the bar and tap on the bar for a drink.
Nice. Now, whose face are you wearing right now? And what are you wearing right now? That's right. What are you wearing?
Well, he's in the same. Your internet connection is unstable. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Sebastian Chrome is wearing the same kind of powdery blue silver, almost suit he was wearing earlier. He's seen no chance or reason to change out quite yet. And his face currently is the face of a junk salesman he saw over on Winslow Street 4 months ago. And he'll add a little bit of extra silver into his beard.
Nice.
So just a random nobody.
Awesome. Okay. So I think, Sebastian, you're going to have the opportunity as you're kind of ducking past these guys to choose where you sit. Do you want to sit near someone we have on the screen here?
God, no. I don't want to sit near any of them. I want to sit. Jeez, God. Well, as much as it pains me to do this and everything screams at me not to do it, I'm going to sit next to the drunk guy because he's the most malleable.
Beautiful. All right. So I'm gonna get rid of these.
So everyone is keenly aware of all the connections that were made and what's going on, right?
Yes.
I don't need to say this is what I tell people.
Nope. But
we all just sort of get it, and I kind of love that.
Absolutely. So we'll say that for the just for the stream, that since these guys have woken up, what they've found is that all of their cyberware that they had on board has been improved and really upgraded and kind of programmed and taught to speak to each other. So anything that any one of them experiences, they can share that experience in this sort of network between them, and all of them can experience it in real time. It was disconcerting at first, but now as you guys are getting used to it and sort of getting into the groove, it feels very natural and normal to do that. So unless you say you're not doing it, I'm going to assume you're sharing a lot of that information all the time. Don't be nervous about saying that you're not, but I'm going to assume you are until told otherwise.
That sounds great to me.
Perfect. All right. Okay. So Lee moved close to J5 to kind of cover his back. Beautiful. Okay. All right. So Costas starts moving towards you as you're standing there with the sunglasses on, and he. So to back up a minute, because the world is cold, hard, and dark, there's no such thing as a good cop in the Boss Wash Metroplex.
Right, of course not.
In real life, my sympathies are with law enforcement generally when they're behaving appropriately. But in this game, there's no such thing as a good cop. So we're going to just go for that. Costas comes at you and kind of pushes his coat back just enough that he can put his hand on his pistol at his waist and says, "Let me see your eyes, citizen."
I assume he's talking to me.
Oh, yeah.
Asshole.
I don't have time for this shit.
He just kind of slowly nods, and then he looks over his shoulder and he says, "Hey, Fontaine, does this guy match the description of the people we're looking for?" "I think he might." And Fontaine is standing back a little ways where he was when you guys first came in, and he just kind of casually leans back. So he's sitting on one of the tables, just kind of resting a little bit, and he pulls out a handheld computer and glances down at it and says, "Let me take a look."
I'm going to also take a look and see what he's looking at.
Okay.
If he's even looking at anything.
Yeah.
And if he's not, I'm going to type "fuck you" on his screen.
All right. Well,
I'm going to ask the group over network, like, more computery people than I. Can you dig up anything on him, on either of them?
Working on it.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna say to the rest of the group, I'll try and handle this. Try to see if you can find some clues. They're gonna bother me, not you.
Okay. I'll mosey a little bit away.
Okay. So, so you start to mosey. Are you heading in any particular direction?
Towards the bar.
Okay. Any particular person you want to slide up next to?
I will slide up next to the first guy you showed, the...
Security-looking guy?
Yes. And I will order a drink.
Okay. As you're walking over towards where he is standing, his eyes sort of flick over to you real quick, and he makes eye contact, and then he flicks right back to the two detectives.
Okay.
And you order a drink. While that's happening, Lee, are you doing anything?
I'm also going to head towards the bar.
Okay.
And I'm going to not make eye contact, but put myself next to the cyborg.
Why?
You're a braver woman than I.
Why would you do that?
All right. So, so you head over in that direction, and she looks pleased that you're heading over. And as you
anything but good.
right, as you come over, she's like watching your face intently, and it's a little disconcerting because her face has been so heavily modified that you can't really read human emotions on it. She's staring you down, and you're not sure what to make of that. What sort of expression do you have on your face?
I'm really, really good at ignoring people.
Okay.
I'm just going to go up and order a drink and pretend I didn't notice.
Okay. So as you she's doing that thing where her back's to the bar, and as you come up and move by, she turns, so she's like almost shoulder to shoulder with you, and her fingertips move like spiders across the surface of the bar. And when they kind of reach almost the edge, one finger goes up, and she says, "I'm buying that." And the bartender nods. All right, back to J5. So so you're going to try and spy on Fontaine's device.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're bothering me and I can't.
Nope. I think that's doable. I'm gonna have you roll sneaky to do it though, without them noticing that you're doing
I'm so bad at sneaky. It's gonna be funny.
All right. Okay, and I'm gonna roll Fontaine's. Let's see. All right, you managed to win. Look at that.
Awesome.
Only because nobody's luck is worse than mine. So
when you're good at a thing, you're good at a thing.
So your eyes flick open, and you see what he's looking at. It looks like a police report of a apartment fire, and then it looks like a report of a shootout at a local warehouse 2 weeks ago. And there's a list of suspects attached to that, or not a list of suspects, but a list of possible descriptions of suspects attached to that. And it very vaguely resembles you and your group.
So
What's the address on the apartment fire? If assuming J5 is sharing that.
Of course,
your
I
apartment.
share everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's totally Jack's apartment.
I will share that.
The warehouse is an unknown quantity to you, but you do see those police reports as he's flicking through them. Okay, and then Fontaine says, "It sure could be," and he slips the handheld back into his pocket, and he pushes himself up to his feet and says, "You have a history with this guy?" And Costa says, "Yeah, I fucking do. And now I fucking got you, you asshole."
You got me for doing what? I didn't do anything. You have no proof.
I don't need.
God damn it!
All I need is reasonable suspicion to haul your ass in. You want to spend a few days in jail?
Not really. Not really. I honestly, I feel like you guys have much better things to do than bother me.
Costas looks over at Fontaine. We have better things to do? Fontaine shrugs. I don't know. You have anything you can tell us to occupy our time?
Mr. GM,
Yes, sir.
I want to see if these guys are detectives, right?
Absolutely.
I want to see if I can really quickly make a false homicide nearby.
Woo! All right, I think that's possible, but it's going to take you a little bit of time.
Oh, okay. I'll put out a quick message. I'll be like, I need backup. Conversational backup.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll rock, paper, scissors you for it. Over.
So I'm going to jump from this conversation over to just do a couple of seconds of Sebastian here. So you go up next to the drunk, and he looks over at you, and he says, "Cops." He shakes his head. "Fucking cops ruined my life."
Ruined a lot of lives, friend. Ruined yours, huh? About to ruin that guy's over there, too.
They fucking think they can do anything just because they got a badge and a gun. Like corporations, for the smaller, who are in your face. Corporations at least fuck up everybody's lives. Cops just fuck up you in particular.
Yeah. Oh, that's a dragnet over there if I'd never seen one. They're gonna take anybody in this place got anything. They're just starting with him because he just walked in the door. I don't know. If I was braver, I might do something about it, but you know.
I love you so much right now. I love you so much. I have so much love for you. It's intense.
He finishes his drink. Yeah, I've got half a mind to do something too. And he looks at his empty cup.
I'll tell you what. Bartender. This gentleman needs a fortifier.
Bartender nods and sets about it. I'm gonna skip over to Lee for a second. So
I mean.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know what to do.
Okay, I'll come back to you. You can decide.
Yep.
Great. So the cyborg next to you, Lee, says, she kind of leans a little like at a strange sort of angle on the bar, and then brings her hands up, and those long nails just kind of tap against her, like her chin, or rather her cheek. And she says, "The cold shoulder, after all we've been through."
Crap.
I don't do house calls for just anyone.
What now is happening? Everything sucks.
You'll have to forgive me. It's been a long night, and I'm trying very hard to ignore other people within this room. Not personal.
Oh, I understand. I just haven't been able to stop thinking about you. Or the work we did. And I just had to know how it was going.
Okay.
This is so cool. Sorry, I'm geeking out.
Over the network. Hey, Jax, can you find anything on this person?
I will try. I will mostly be searching like media stuff. And, oh, sorry, there's an echo.
That's fine. Look for any kind of art or anything.
I will attempt to do that.
Okay. So we're going to jump over then to Jax. And so you're going to search through like media sites, trying to find information on
Guys, 1 second. We're getting some really nasty echo.
Okay.
Some of the computer is picking up a lot of the sound. I think it may be resolved.
La la la.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm getting a lot of echo.
I'm not anymore.
Yep, we should be good.
All right. I'm gonna just talk for a minute about nothing. I really like Neuromancer. It's a great book.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It is.
All right, solid.
It is a great book.
It's part of my thesis.
Oh, is it? That's awesome.
Oh,
It was, yeah. I talked about women in science fiction entirely in German for an hour.
That's awesome.
what even are you doing talking to any of us?
Right?
You're so much cooler than us.
Some people are just on another level. Like professional
I went to
streamers.
Walmart the other day. I mean, come on.
Awesome. Anyway, so back over to you. So you're searching for like media files or media mentions specifically of who?
Of the cyber girl, like her cyberware seems significant enough that ought to be a thing if she shows up in anything.
Okay. Boom. So you do some searching and you find it's pretty quick. Your connection is pretty good, and you're actually finding that as you're sorting through like raw data and doing like a massive search, that you actually start borrowing some processing speed from some of your friends. So like
That's not creepy at all.
all of a sudden J5 starts kind of thinking about newspapers and or the equivalent cyber newspapers, and then the information starts kind of filtering in, and you find an interview with her before she was heavily modified, and she was a talented neurosurgeon who was sort of really pioneering some of the Exocortex technology. And then she had what that story calls a breakdown and then dropped out of sight. And then you find a couple of mentions in some of the more shadowy corners of the news feeds of a cybernetics specialist who was willing to do black market cybernetic work, and that she's really good at it and really talented, and but a little unstable. And she calls herself Chaos Bleeds.
Okay, send all that on. With my compliments, because this setup is awesome.
I could explain some things.
All right, so we're gonna jump back to J5. Boom. So you just asked for help.
I did, but
Everybody's taking an action, and so what I'm gonna do is say that one of them is help is on the way, but you got to stall at least a little bit longer.
okay. All right. I'll say, listen, guys. Really, I got a lot of shit to do. I know. We have a history. I know you got problems with me. I got problems with you. But today, can we just skip it? I'm tired. I had a bad day. I have a headache. It's been a real problem.
Okay, so the way I'm gonna resolve this is so that if you are, let's say, convincing enough in your argument, you're going to make some progress in the argument, and if you're not
going to,
they're not going to take it.
No.
So what's going to happen is I'm going to assign a stress tracker to these police officers here that doesn't represent like physically beating them up, but it represents causing enough chaos or discomfort or pressure that they decide to change their minds and that you're not the person they're looking for and to go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little bit more difficult because they have a personal history with you.
Right.
Boom. So I'm going to give them a full 3 stress boxes, and I'm going to give them a minor consequence.
Okay.
So this is probably going to take a few attempts, and it's probably going to take a little bit of teamwork to be successful, because at the same time they're going to be trying to do the equivalent to you, like take you out. And if they end up taking you out with their in these social conflict, then you're going to get arrested and spend the night in jail. Okay, cool. So that will be their stress box, and we're just going to use your stress boxes, J5, as the teams. Okay.
Sounds good.
So your argument here seems like you're basically saying, leave me alone because I'm tired?
Well, it's a crappy argument, but it's the one I came up with at the moment, so we're going to go with that.
Okay, so let's see. Of the approaches, that sounds like a sort of
Douchey
forceful.
approach?
Douchey. We'll call it douchey. I think it's more forceful. It's like you saying, like, listen, back off. I've had a crappy day. I'm not in the mood. You remember I kicked your ass before and put a gun in your face without saying that part. Right. So it feels a little forceful to me. So why don't you go ahead and roll forceful, and I'm going to resist with their forceful. Okay. Okay, you're winning.
Control is everywhere.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, so you come at them, and you make a little headway. They are, let's see, that's a 2-stress argument. Yeah, I'll take it. So I'm going to click off my 2 stress box. And boom. Okay. All right. Almost there. All right, so I'm going to pass it from you, and who do you want to see go next? I'm going to get into that old school initiative order there. And when it's your turn, you don't necessarily have to help out J5. You can continue your conversation. In fact, leaving a conversation abruptly might have consequences.
Right. I'm gonna have them go.
Okay,
see
great.
what they do.
Okay. So you see that Costas is getting just a little bit intimidated by that. The history is there. I'm hearing an echo. Should I stop or do I keep going?
It's minor. Keep going. I think it's whenever Nate gets up and moves his computer, he doesn't mute it. So
okay.
it turns on his speakers, and then it echoes.
Awesome.
You need to mute your computer when you step away from it.
I also just like hearing myself, so that's fine. Costas looks a little intimidated by your forceful approach, and he's like takes a little bit of a step back, and then he gets that thing where when you're intimidated, you don't want to show that you're intimidated, you just get really angry.
Yeah.
So he actually looses his gun in his holster, and it's a fairly large caliber automatic pistol, and it's cybered up. And as you're watching and he kind of adjusts it, and you're aware through your implants that his implants just went online, and that his gun is now armed and ready to fire. And he leans forward slightly, and Fontaine, reading his partner's body language, reaches under his own coat, and you see his offensive software come online as well. It looks like forceful is a good way to try and push this towards violence. So they're going to actually try to forcefully intimidate you back.
I see. What do I do for that?
How are you going to maintain your footing in the face of their aggression and their violence? So I describe how J5 reacts, and we'll figure out what approach fits it.
Oh man, see.
Do you do the same thing where someone gets in your face?
I'm the king of escalation is the problem. Darren is an escalator. People walking on him in malls. It's great. Anyway.
Oh, shut up.
Let me see here. Let me think about this. You know what? We're going to go with forceful anyway. I'm going to say, what the fuck is your guys' problem? Do you answer everything with violence? Like when you beat your fucking wife? Is that a fucking thing you do? Did you know about that, Fontaine? That's your name, right? Fontaine?
Nice.
Rein your partner in. He's a fucking problem.
That's awesome. Okay, defend with forceful.
Prepare the ointment for the sick bird.
Oh, look at that. And the dice back you up. All right, so you have defended with style.
Yes, they do.
So you're going to get a boost. And we're going to call that boost Fontaine may be an asshole, but he doesn't beat his wife.
It's a low bar, but he clears it.
Right. He's not the greatest person ever, but boom. But with that revelation, you get this boost. So not only do you defend, but you can tell that you just put a little bit of a wedge between Fontaine and Costas there. Because Fontaine is like easing back just a little bit.
I figured that was my only way out.
It was really good. And if that was an attack, I would say you could be that Costas probably has an aspect that you could invoke to get a bonus of dark secret. I'm a violent prick or whatever.
Right.
And but on a defense, you defended as best as you possibly could. So there's no need for that. Okay, so they went. And that was not a fruitful round for them. I'm going to pass it off to... I want to see what Lee is going to do with Chaos Bleeds.
Flee.
So good.
Yeah, I am in the background here, paying attention to what is going on over there. But I kind of ease my posture, said, "No, really, you maintain your reputation for being the best in the business, so to speak."
Again, it's hard to read her her expression, but that answer seems to please her, and you see her AR sort of ripples a little bit, and AR spiders crawl out of the neck of her hoodie and kind of crawl around her shoulders, and she says, "I don't know how you came up with that design for those implants, but I have not been able to replicate it. I know many people," and her fingers start doing that flicking thing, and the AR spiders are kind of crawling over them and falling down with spider webs. "I know many who would pay well for that technology. Are you interested?"
Unfortunately, with like a lot of great works of art, it comes to you and then often goes. So I'm not in the habit of repeating my work.
She nods her head very slowly and says, "Everyone has a price, Lee."
Kind of make my living off of not having one.
She looks a little put off. And we're going to switch to, or rather, who do you want to see go next, Lee?
Jax.
So I think Jax has already gone for this exchange. So let me pull that chart over. 1 second. Boop. Oh, Jax. I'm sorry. J5 and Jax got together in my head. My bad. Yep, Jax,
Okay.
go.
I'm gonna ping J5 really quick. Like, do you still need help? Because you kind of look like you're handling it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna try to come up with other than the wife thing, is there anything on either of these guys? Anything remotely sketchy, or is there like a corporation they're especially involved with?
Okay, so that's going to be a little bit more challenging than finding stuff about the cyborg. So I'm going to
Sure.
have you roll. It sounds like you have to probably do it either quickly or cleverly.
Let me check my character sheet.
Okay.
I will do it cleverly.
Okay. So your difficulty for this is going to be... 1 second.
Yikes.
Oh, damn.
Okay. So, despite my pop-up perhaps being a clue, you don't find any information unless you want to spend some fate points on it.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll let it slide for now.
Okay. So you start searching, and it's very clear from what you can find, sort of implying from what you can't find, that they are definitely on the payroll of a corporation in addition to municipal powers, but that corporation is acting to keep them safe.
Okay.
Cool.
How much of a no-no is that for police officers? And they kind of assume it's...
It's a very big no-no to get caught. It's a
Okay,
very small no-no for it to be known.
sure.
But if like real proof came out, then they might lose their jobs over it. But it also depends on how much pressure the corps exert to keep them in place.
Okay.
But it ain't good. Okay, so Jax, who do you want to have go next?
Sebastian.
Sebastian.
Sebastian's pulling a twofer. So Sebastian buys the guy a bottle of some awful malt liquor.
Nice.
The kind that makes you do things. And he pours him a double. but he's bought the bottle. He'll mutter, "You do what you think is right."
Nice.
And then he'll get up and head to the door.
Okay. So when you're saying...
No, he's going outside.
Okay. So you're going to move outside the bar, and you're going to
Yes.
lubricate this guy, and you're going to tell him to do what he thinks is right. What's your intention?
Well, my intention is that hopefully the drunk can cause a little bit of a distraction. Like
Okay.
he doesn't expect the drunk to overpower two fully armed cyber cops.
Right.
Now, what he does suspect is the cops must have driven here, because to walk through this area by themselves is probably suicidal at best. So, malt liquor burns really, really well, and I think their cop car being lit on fire would probably be enough of a fucking distraction to get him out of the bar.
That's a good one.
I love
That's
you.
a good distraction.
I love you so hard.
Sebastian doesn't have a plan. He just does things. Awesome. Okay.
I don't know.
It's
It
beautiful.
just makes shit up.
It's beautiful. I love it. Okay. So your intention is for this guy to cause a scene. Your action was to kind of wind him up a little bit and lubricate him. What approach
Yep.
do you think that is? You think that's clever? It's kind of clever. It's not, might be flashy. It's not careful. It's not really forceful. You could be sneaky. So why don't you give me clever or sneaky?
Well, what's higher? Hang on a sec. Let me get my sheet out.
All right.
You can do that now. I believe in you.
Shut up. Clever.
Dude, do it.
Clicky. Oh,
Perfect.
womp
Okay.
womp.
Yep, I think there's still a decent chance here. Because he is not necessarily clever and he's drunk. So, let me do this. -2, yes. So you succeed with style. So he... all right, so you step out. So as part of that action, this guy is going to push himself up from the bar, and he's going to hold the bottle in one hand, and he's going to finish the double shot with the other, and then he's going to drop the glass, and then he's going to kind of reverse his grip on the bottle and hold it at his side, and is going to start really loudly walking towards the police officers. Shit. And so he's like, hey, I'm talking to you. And what I'm going to call that is an aspect on the scene that is called impending violence.
Oh, Christ.
I'm so nervous right now. It's a goddamn conversation, and I'm super nervous.
All right. And let's see, you succeeded by 2-4, so I'll put 2 implications on it. So anyone who can work that coming threat into their next action can spend one of those invocations for free and get a +2.
Awesome.
All right. Who do you want to have go next, Sebastian?
I'm gonna have the drunk guy go next.
Okay, so he's kind of in action as a
My apologies.
as a thing on the thing, but let's
Some part of his brain is screaming. So Aaron, you can go next to get out of that horrible situation you're in, talking to the Weaver over there.
Nice. Okay, so this is the start of a new round, and it looks like Lee, you're kicking it off.
Okay, so
Bail.
not making any friends over here. I need a minute. Pick somebody else.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, let's see here. All right, Jax, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick breath and I'm going to walk up to Fontaine, and I want everything about me to say, look at me, we are live on air. And I'm going to walk right up and say, Detective Fontaine, Jax Mickelson, Pirate KTV News. I'm hoping you have a comment about the allegations that your partner is under corporate control. Any comment?
Wow. All right. So give me a flashy roll.
Ooh, I will spend a fate point on that.
Okay, well, let me roll first because
Okay.
I might roll worse. You never know.
It is my only hope.
Yeah. Let's see. You're going to come out with flashy. You're going to come with knowledge of their background. You're going to come with a PR nightmare, and they're going to go with careful. So they're going to try and carefully so you come at them, and they're going to they're going to act like you got nothing. So Fontaine is going to kind of straight face it, and he kind of turns and squares his shoulders, takes his hand off his gun, and says, "Man, we got a bit of a situation here. I'm going to ask you to step back." So he's going to try and be careful and counter that. Let's see. Oops, that's not right. There we go. Got a 2.
Okay, so fate point wise, spending 1 gets me up to 1,
So
which still puts me below, right?
yes, but you can also spend 1 on a reroll instead.
Yes.
Looking at your roll, looks like you rolled all 4 negatives, which is pretty bad.
Yes, I will try to spend 1 on a reroll.
Okay, which aspect are you going to invoke to do that?
Can I use... Let's see. I will use Pirate Media Reporter, because
Nice.
I am.
First,
Awesome.
get out of here.
That's perfect. All right, so go ahead and take away a fate point and reroll.
Okay. That's better.
Wow. Yeah, that's much better. Okay.
Wow. I
So-
don't think we've seen one that high.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so he's like, man, everything's under control, but he's clearly sweating. Like he breaks out in perspiration, and he's you can J5. You can see some like information flitting back and forth between his AR and Fontaine, his AR and Costas's. And what that translates to is a 4 stress hit. So I'm going to click off my 3 box. Boom. And then I'm going to take a consequence. Let's see, what should that consequence be? I think that consequence will be no payoff is worth this. So what that means is that is now an aspect that's on them. Boom. And oh wow, that's kind of hard to see. Let's try. There we go. That's better. That's an aspect that's on them now. So that's true. Both of them are now thinking that they're a little bit in over their heads, that there's no payoff worth this trouble. And that aspect, no payoff is worth this, comes with a free invoke that anyone can use when they're dealing with them.
Is that a one-time invoke for one person?
Yep.
Okay.
The aspect will still exist, so then you can use fate points to invoke it further if
Great.
it's applicable to the story. All right, so we've got some impending violence, we've got some media attention, we've got some cops second guessing their bad selves. Who goes next, Jax?
I'm going to have J5 go next.
J5. You now have a maelstrom in front of you. What are you going to do with it?
Let's see. Okay, so I don't know if I can do all this in one turn. Real quickly, is the drunk guy using AR? Can I tell?
He probably has one, or he probably doesn't have one, but he's probably seeing one. Yes, you can tap into it and see what he's seeing, but he's not like projecting into the AR that other people can see.
I
Like,
actually want to sort of provoke him by flashing messages like really fast, almost subliminal. Be like, "These cops ruined your life."
All right, so you're pulling the trigger on the impending violence. Sounds good.
And to Costas, I'll say, "Listen, man. I know you've done some shit, and that's fine. I'm just gonna step back and let you go about your day, and everything's gonna be good. And I'll just take a couple steps back away from him, and that's it."
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna have you do. I think clever makes sense for this one.
Yeah, I think so.
Clever or sneaky? All right. So they're going to defend with careful. because now they're kind of on edge. They're back, and they're starting to like let you back out, but Costas isn't quite ready to give up on you yet. Or maybe he is completely ready to give up on you now.
I'll take it.
Yeah, so that's enough to take them out. So they fill their last stress box. You have
Bless you.
the
It's in pain.
and you can you have all these free invokes you don't actually need. I'm just gonna take them away. So the impending violence becomes actual violence. Would you like to narrate what happens, J5, or would you like me to?
You know what? I'll let you do it.
Okay. So what's your intention here? Like these guys are definitely about to get assaulted, and they're definitely going to take this guy down. Those are given, but then they're going to be kind of use that as an excuse to leave. Are you okay with that?
Sort of. Okay, so here's what I would like to have done, or what I would like to happen. I would like to let the fight happen,
Yep.
but while they're fighting, start combing their networks for information on Sigma. See if they have anything.
Awesome.
And I want to record the entire thing.
Nice. Okay. So you record it, and you're going to look for Sigma. Okay, so that's actually a great use for all those free invokes. So go ahead and make a clever check for me, J5. And we're going to, okay, and then we're going to I'm going to roll to hide that information like I did before. Boom, and boom.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, all right, man. Okay, so you succeed, and then you can use the free invokes on impending violence and the no payoff is worth this to boost that up to a succeed with style level, and so that gets you a lot of good information. So he comes up with a bottle, and the way I picture this is you're saying, "Hey, I'm just going to step away. I'm going to let you guys leave," and the camera is like on you, and as you're stepping back, it's like rotating to the side, and then it kind of goes behind you, and you can see them facing you, and then you see this guy coming off of the side of the street screen, raising his glass bottle and just smashing it across the base of Costas' skull.
It's the best day ever.
Kind of ducks his head forward and draws his pistol, and Fontaine grabs the drunk guy's arm and then puts the other arm around his throat in a chokehold, and Costas turns and puts his gun right in the drunk guy's like sternum, like right against his
I
chest.
am zooming in and letting them be very aware that this is going out live.
And Fontaine is, and he says, "Hey, not here." And Costas looks around and then just clubs the drunk guy across the temple with the butt of the pistol, and the drunk guy kind of goes limp. And Costas kind of glares at you, J5, and says, "It's not fucking done." And he scoops up the drunk guy by the other arm, and the two cops drag him out. Boom. So outside, Sebastian, you see
Awesome.
the two police officers escorting a guy with a pretty good welt that's bleeding on his forehead, and he's dragging him like past you. Do you intervene or let him pass?
Based on my knowledge of the seedy underbelly of the world, what are they going to do to this guy?
It depends on exactly how pissed off Costas is. At the minimum, he's going to take a beating. Worst case scenario, Costas will dispose of him. And since you're kind of a good guy in a bad world, I think it makes a lot of sense for you to intervene and try and save this guy. So I'm going to call that a compel. Yeah, all right.
Totally, yeah. So what? I accessed their. Oh, God damn! Am I good enough to do this? We're gonna find out. Whoever the police chief is in this area.
You okay?
When they're not looking, I look like him.
Okay.
My clothes change in as much as I can, and my face changes to be a jowled, sagging old man who's had just a few too many bad things thrown his way.
Awesome.
And I'm gonna get their attention. Hey.
Okay. Make a flashy check for me.
I love this game.
I'm getting a lot of echo. It's hard to hear.
Okay. I will try to speak more clearly. Go ahead and roll flashy for me, and we'll see how that does.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Where's my hoopty thing? Oh, for heaven's sake. Hang on a sec.
No problem.
Well, I had it. What did I do with it?
What are you looking for?
My character sheet.
So on the top right, there's the little journal tab. Click on that. And
Yep,
then
I see it.
Find your name at the top under characters.
Thank you. Okay. Clicky.
Clicky.
Flashy.
Flashy. All right. So I'm gonna
We get
roll-
one.
Yeah, you got a one. So I'm gonna try and cleverly resist that. I love saying that. Wow, boy, you guys are just like better at rolling dice than me tonight. Okay, so yeah, you get their attention, and so the way I picture it is you access your AR, and or you access your implants, and your face starts to squirm. I like how you described it before, like Quicksilver worms, and it just blurs, and then you actually tap into Jack's implants a little bit and her media sort of knowledge of the media world, and you get some really good pictures of the police chief from his public appearances. And so when it kind of solidifies, you're pretty confident that it's a solid disguise. Maybe not like perfect, wouldn't fool advanced technology, but it would definitely fool the eye, no problem. And you get their attention. How do you get their attention?
Say, hey, you two.
They
What
look
is
over.
this?
They look at each other and say, "Chief, what are you doing here?"
Never you mind. What's he done?
"Assaulting an officer, sir," Costa says, touching the back of his head that's damp with booze and broken glass.
I've heard enough noise and chatter about you two tonight. Look, I'll expect you both in my office in the morning on Monday. Just leave it, all right?
They look at each other, and they look at you, and this is going to take another roll to convince them. So go ahead and roll flashy again.
Yeah, this was not well thought out. This was not well thought out. Damn it. No!
There's the dice revenge right there.
Oh.
How do I fix this? Fix it.
Okay, so let's look at that. Because
Were there any aspects remaining that we could use? Or
Yeah,
any
so-
whatchacombs?
I'm going to say this is a continuation of the last scene. It's not quite a whole new scene yet. So impending violence is over because the violence happened. No payoff is worth this is probably still in effect. Fontaine may be an asshole, but he doesn't beat his wife is still in effect.
Oh, and because I'm a bullshit artist, I get a +2 to carefully create an advantage.
Okay.
That's careful, son of a bitch.
That's careful. No, that's okay. So, yeah. Okay. So maybe if you fail this roll, getting yourself out of the shit might be the careful bullshit artist roll.
And I will.
Okay. So those are the aspects that you have in play that you can call on, plus your own aspects. In order to win, you would need to spend 3 fate points. I'm not sure that's worth it. I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe I can just be careful the rest of the evening. How long have we got? An hour? I can hack it. Yeah, I'll play.
Okay. So, let's see. What was that? No payoff is worth this. Okay. So you are going to spend points on it, or you're going to take the hit?
I'll spend them. No, we need this to work. I can't let this guy get whacked.
Okay. Good for you, sir. Good for you. So Fontaine may be an asshole, but he doesn't beat his wife. Gives you a +2 free. So that brings you up to a 3. You can spend a fate point on no payoff is worth this if you want, or any other.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 1 fate point on that.
I will do that.
So that puts you at a tie. So on a tie, you can succeed at a cost. So in this case, I think the cost is going to be you succeed in getting them to. You're going to succeed in getting to let this guy go, but they're going to figure out the deception tomorrow, and they're going to be out looking for revenge.
Bring it the fuck on. Like, this is my first run-in with the cops.
Okay. Excellent. So they look at each other and they say, "Yeah, sure, Chief. Sorry." And Fontaine they bound his hands with like this little like snake-like cord that just wound itself around him, and he puts his thumb on it. It relaxes and then recoils up in the palm of his hand, and he then pushes the drunk guy, and the drunk guy stumbles away, holding his head, and says, fucking cops ruined my life," and staggers down the street away. And then Fontaine and Costas kind of shoot you a salute and then say, "Tomorrow morning, sir." And they
tomorrow morning. I keep walking down the street.
And they do as well. Very nice. Okay, cool. So back inside, we have to resolve your scraping of their databases there, J5, and we have a conversation going on with Chaos Bleeds. So Lee, how are you going to handle that? What do you think?
Of the night. Sunshine
Right,
is
you
my
fight.
destroyer.
I'm going to palm one of my cans of spray paint,
There shall never be
just in case.
another dawn.
Okay.
We're the worst.
Well, it's been lovely running into you, but kind of busy at the moment, if you wouldn't mind.
So she reverses her posture on the bar. So she did the kind of lean in thing, and when you say that, she turns back to the leaning out, and both of her fingers kind of so her elbows are on the bar and her fingers are kind of slipping up underneath the bar, and it's doing that typewriter tap 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 tap.
God, get a job, lady.
And she says, "I've been keeping it quiet so far. Not a lot of people know of the work we did. Not a lot of people have to know about the work we did. Just think about it. I don't usually ask twice, Lee. Just like I don't usually let people scrub in to my operations." And then she kind of pushes herself up off the bar and walks out. And on her way out, she actually pauses near the security-looking guy by the door, and says, and kind of puts her hand up, and it puts her hand like on like this side of his face, with this part of her hand, the back of her hand up against the face, and then the fingers curl backwards and kind of caress the face. And she says,
It's not creepy.
"How are the implants holding up, KO'd? Are you finding things are working well?" And KO'd says, "Working fine, Chaos. And my night keeps getting better. You leaving?" And Chaos says, "For now." And KO'd says, "That's probably good the way this night's going. You take care." And Chaos Bleeds, nods, and then steps out of the door and out into the street with a quick look over her shoulder. And J5, in that moment where she's looking over her shoulder, you feel another one of those, like, you would call it a clumsy attempt to access your implants, except you don't think it's clumsy. You think it's just like unsophisticated, like she's like maybe trying to access a back door that isn't there, and she's expecting your implants to just kind of open up like a flower for her, and they are just not at all.
Gotcha.
And then she leaves. Okay. Leaving our fearless players in the bar and no longer accosted by the fuzz. So you went through all of their data while they were scrapping there, and you tried to pull out as much as you could, and the focus of your search was Sigma?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
more specifically, like Sigma and where she might be now, or where she's been in the past day or two.
okay. So
They might not have anything, but
nope. But they totally do. So what you find is it takes some sort of inferencing, and you find one picture of Sigma, and she's dressed in combat armor, like the picture I shared, but she's got a wound on her head, and she's being dragged by two faceless security guys. So like those people in the first episode that you guys got into that running gunfight with, it looks exactly like them. And it reports that 8 hours ago, that she was, the timestamp is about 8 hours ago. And there's a note from a person. Let me get a name for you. There's a message directly to those two officers, those two detectives, from a Victor Ranjit, Viktor Ranjit, from Atlas Security, and it basically says, "We need a safe house. We need a safe house. We need police to stay away from that safe house. We need it for 24 hours. Make that happen." And then there's a response, and from the detectives, that basically narrows it down to like any one of these buildings in this area would be workable for that. And then there's no response from the guy, except no, actually there's one response that says, "Make sure everyone stays away from that area." And that's it.
So we can take that building list and start there, I think.
Absolutely.
Asking the party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, seeing Sigma in that position, or in that picture, and it brings up a feeling of sort of sorrow and loss for all of you. So as that picture flits across your AR, you have a feeling, and you're not sure if it's coming from your exocortex, if it's coming from you, if it's genuine, if it's artificial, but you feel sad. And one of you has a flashback of a time that you were with Sigma, and it can be any of you. So who is it?
I can't imagine a woman like that, capable of killing each of us with her pinky finger, would have anything to do with a bald, pasty, middle-aged man. Nah,
Well,
not this guy.
Well, perhaps that's why the encounter stuck with you so much. Boom.
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 Fuck you guys!
So it can be anyone, and
I think we're voting Sebastian.
I vote Sebastian.
all right. Before we're done tonight, hopefully it will be all of you. So you're not going to be able to completely dodge this one.
Fine.
All right, cool. So I'm just going to move these guys here. So this flashback takes no time. And while you're having it, at any point, you can decide that the other people are experiencing it with you, or you're experiencing it alone. It doesn't matter for my purposes, and it is a conscious choice of your character. Like, this memory starts to kind of occur to you. You start to relive this moment, and then you can either put it in the AR or you cannot.
I think he's not used enough yet to keeping things from the AR.
Okay.
So I think he's like, boy, I hope I don't think about this. And it just kind of flows out into the AR, no problem.
Okay. So you you start to have this memory, and okay, and you are at a really, really fancy sort of hotel or restaurant. It's like totally top of the line. You want to improvise what that looks like, or do you want me to?
Oh, it's one of those gilded, shining, no shadows anywhere kind of place where you need a jacket to even get in the door.
Nice.
And 99.9% of the human population would think to themselves, I have no business being in a place like this.
Exactly.
Even as the janitor.
Nice. What do you look like in this
That's
flashback?
the kind of thing that stays with you.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So what do you look like in this flashback?
Oh wow. Well, he definitely had to buy a new suit.
It's a really nice suit. Like, this is everything we've described about Sebastian so far has been like, it's not great, but it's not bad. But in this flashback, you're wearing a very nice suit. Like, it is like probably one of the best suits you've ever owned.
Absolutely. I mean, it's tailored to his form for start.
Nice.
I mean, it's the kind of suit that makes any guy look like maybe this guy knows what he's doing. You know, it just gives you that irrational feeling looking at him. And you know, he must be successful and just so smart. And really all it is you just spent a ton of money on a piece of clothing. But yeah, it's just a couple of shades down from gray. Blackish. Nice. It's like they couldn't decide. Almost the color of dark smoke. And I own one suit, and it's not one of those suits, so I'm having trouble describing this.
Oh, that's okay.
But fancy.
So you're walking into this restaurant, and you're wearing that coat, and wearing that suit. And what sort of face do you think you have on? Is it your face, or is it a different face?
I think it's his face, and it's nervous. Because not only does he not wear his own face a whole lot, but he's decided to do this for the sake of whatever the evening's going to hold. Okay. And he's worried that the suit is not nearly enough.
Okay. So in this flashback, you have all of the upgraded Exocortex. And you're aware that as you're walking into this room, that other people are sort of perceiving what you're perceiving and are sort of with you through the Exocortex. And you hear a voice, that's Sigma's voice, say, 12 o'clock, table in the back corner by the window. And you start to move in that direction. And Sigma continues to talk and says, this is an asset. We need to get him to cooperate with us. We need to get him to give us information on the projects that he's involved with and the ones he's been recently transferred to. We can do almost anything with that, but we need to get him to trust us and open up. Do you think you can do that?
Yes, he lies.
Good. We're all counting on you. If it all goes shit, check your 6 o'clock. And you do, and she's there.
God.
Dressed in a fancy gown, and she's like kind of smirking at you from another table in the restaurant. And over the AR comes, "I've got your back, Sebastian. It's going to be okay."
I can't even deal with you right now, James.
Okay.
You're welcome. All right. So you head over that direction?
Oh yeah. Whatever the lady says.
All right. So you make your way over towards that table, and you have to kind of excuse yourself around. And sitting at that table is Vasily Dow. He's kind of staring out the window. He's dressed in a suit that's almost as nice as yours, but not quite. His tie's a little undone. There's a plate that's like half picked at of really expensive real food in front of him, and he's got a half-empty whiskey glass in his hand. And he just kind of turns like slightly away from the center of the room and is looking out the window. And as you're coming up on him, you see your reflection in the window. You see his reflection, and beyond that, you can see the Boss Wash Metroplex sort of laid out before you. It's all bright lights and neon and chrome and things flitting across your AR. With the AR that you have like sort of options to kind of dial up and dial down the background noise. And you know that if someone who was like middle to lower class was looking out this window, like the skyline would be plastered with ads or would be plastered with propaganda. But what Vasily is probably seeing is just the night and the lights out there. And his gaze doesn't shift from the window as you move up to him.
I make some kind of unassuming noise and ask, "Do you mind if I sit?"
He glances over at you and kind of takes in your suit and nods and gestures to the chair.
Thank you. Sebastian has moved into professional mode, and he's taking slow movements and trying to do everything right, but not to the point where it looks like he's trying to do everything right.
Okay. He nods, and he says, Vasily Dow, Icarus Aerospace.
Well, it's very nice to meet you. And while I'm saying that, I shoot a message over through the AR, like, what's my cover name here? How have I gone into this mission with no background? This is hell on earth. Out of game.
Sigma comes over the AR and says, just breathe. This isn't over your head. We've prepared for this. You're Kendrick Kingston.
And what do I do?
You work for Stahl Arms. You're an arms dealer.
I relay Kendrick Kingston.
You know, actually, I'm gonna back up. It's not Stahl Arms. It's Leandri Corps. And you're a yep, and you are a scientist. Sorry.
Scientist. Oh, that I can fake. Okay.
Nice.
Mr. Kingston, and I work in inorganics.
And he glances over at you and says, "What brings you to my table tonight?"
What does bring me to his table tonight? He's just so handsome. No, why? Why am I here?
And the seduction begins.
You seemed like a gentleman like myself. You're looking at the night not so much for what isn't there, but for what is. Just the stars for us. Infinite possibilities.
He kind of smirks at that, and he says, "You can't see the stars through the megastructure. The megastructure keeps the worst of the atmosphere out. The acid rain, the freezing temperatures. It keeps us safe, but it keeps the stars well beyond our reach." And he takes a drink of his whiskey, and he says, "For now, I don't look at what's beyond. I look at what's missing."
A way to slip the leash and end the dog days of tomorrow?
I get less and less concerned about tomorrow, and more worried about what is lost in the past.
A historian, then? Or a poli-sci major?
He kind of grins, and he says, "No soft sciences for me." And
No.
and then he says, "I think of the past because I think the happiest days are behind us. Or at least my happiest days are behind me. And I wonder why the future... I wonder why going forward is so important."
If we don't go forward, we stand still. Yes? You need to keep putting one foot in front of the other out of momentum, if nothing else.
Momentum and misplaced hope only take you so far. At a certain point, you have to maybe realize that you're pushing yourself for no reason. That some causes really are hopeless.
What cause might that be? He seems genuinely concerned, of course.
Okay. He gestures for the waiter to bring him another drink, and he says, "Family. Those that left before their time. The brightest parts of an otherwise dull life. Silent.
family changes time, doesn't it? You wake up and suddenly everything is faster and slower all at once, isn't it?
12 years that lasted forever. And 12 years that seemed to fly by in the flick of an eye. And then 10 years of silence, misplaced hope, and momentum. And Sigma comes on the line and says he has a son, 22 years old, in a hospital.
Are you, father by your words? I was never so fortunate myself.
No children then?
No, no. You get so busy, and then you get bald, and then you get old, and next life, maybe.
I'm not convinced we get second chances. I've spent the last 10 years hoping for a second chance that never arrived. I think the universe, it takes. And it only gives once you stop caring. So everything tastes like ashes.
Ye gods.
Sigma comes on and says, his son. See if you can leverage the son.
But I must say, you're still in a fancy restaurant on a fine night, looking out at the stars, and drinking a very expensive whiskey. So hope must not have entirely left you. What keeps you hanging on?
That he's not dead. That maybe someday they'll find a way to cure the degenerative nerve damage that keeps him trapped in his own body. That someday he'll walk, speak, run, and play. And while he lays there, I look at the stars, and I look at how to reach them. And my son just lies there. 22 years old. 22 tomorrow. And he hasn't moved or spoken or done anything since he was 12.
Well, then, as his father, I suppose it behooves you to keep an eye on the stars, doesn't it? Is there anything, He seems at a loss for words. Really, he's trying not to scream and run out of the room. Well, I know a thing or two about the frail forms we're all given at birth. Is there anything I might assist you with? How may I be of service?
He kind of scoffs at that, and he says, I'm sorry, did you say you were from the Entry Corps or no?
No.
No, that wasn't actually mentioned.
Thank you, I wasn't sure. So he says, what do you know? What could you do? We have the finest doctors out there working on it. What could you do with it?
It's Leandri Corps?
Yep.
Leandri Corps' resources are vast. I'm highly placed. Who could say? Sometimes it's just a different perspective on things. Fresh eye.
He kind of turns at that and leans forward to you. And he says, I'm a man of significant resources, Mr. Kingston. If you were lying or manipulating me or playing some game for Leandri Corps, I will end you. I will tear the stars down from the sky. But if you think you can
Of
help,
course.
there's nothing I won't do to help him.
Ask yourself this, though. Of course. Really, though, would a bald, pale, middle-aged, pasty man like myself approach you in such a place for... Perish the thought. Let us speak on... let us speak. Perhaps I too am seeking to make amends for past misdeeds. Perhaps the stars have brought us here with their light, even so far away and hidden by the structures.
I don't trust easy, and I don't hope much. But if you can help him, I'll do anything. And Sigma says, if it helps at all, Sebastian, you're not lying. We can help. And then the flashback stops, and you're back. You're back in the present, and you are back standing amongst the group.
And he thinks to himself, boy, I'm sure glad none of them saw that. Whew.
Nice. All
Well,
right.
that was interesting.
Do we want to talk about this now? What?
So the kid in your apartment, Sebastian, how old would you guess he was?
Oh, I don't know. Sebastian has a seat against the wall of the bar outside and lets his regular features return. Oh, boy, I'd say... Wow.
He looked about 12 to
I really
me.
did not intend...
Yeah.
He looked about 12. I did not intend all of you to see that.
Did anyone touch him? Like, it wasn't just in AR, right? That kid was there and a kid, or was that kid...
If he was in AR, it was a really, really, really good AR. But he wasn't... Well, I guess you saw him close the door
Okay.
as he went back into the room. Good question, though.
Oh, he's quite real. Say that
All right, so
again.
sorry, did I interrupt you? What were you saying, Sebastian?
No, I'm just getting a bad connection. I'm sorry.
Okay, so his son is supposed to be 22 years old.
Yes.
Who's the kid?
Maybe he put...
But, I mean, his son went... Whatever's wrong with him went wrong when he was 12. I mean, are we cloning?
Are we seeing the fucking future? Sorry.
Well, I think what makes more sense is if you noticed on the boy's head was that extremely crude implant. Yes?
Yes.
Which doesn't speak very much to a father with a great deal of money and resources. What it does speak to is a 12-year-old boy who would not be missed. So, perhaps instead he has taken the son's mind and placed it into a cheaply acquired body. Just a theory.
Shit.
You understand, of course, I very heartily would like a drink.
Well,
You're
we're in the
right
place
outside
for
the
it.
bar.
I am outside the bar. I go into the bar.
All right.
Sit down at the bar.
So the two people who were inside the bar with y'all are still in there. KO'd standing near the door, and the other guy who is sitting at a table, just kind of watching. You head back into the bar, and as just sort of an FYI, I added a aspect to Sigma's block on the comm screen.
I saw
That's
that.
ballistic armor and black dresses.
Oh,
So-
she's delightful, isn't she? Aaron?
This game is going to end with every single one of us proposing to her.
Yep. And I'm okay with it. I'm down. Let's just make it happen.
Cool. All right, so 10 o'clock. We got about an hour. Okay, cool. All right, so what's next?
Okay. Can you refresh my memory? Did I get information about any of her? We got the warehouse stuff.
Mm-hmm.
we got a group of like probably 4 or 5 addresses in an
Yep.
area that we could go check.
Yep.
Am I missing anything?
You're still waiting for Jack's contact to call you back, and she was looking into Vasily Dow as well. Or, yeah, the contact was looking into Vasily Dow as well.
Okay.
Let me check my loose ends list real quick, make sure I'm not missing something. Nope, we're looking good so far.
Okay.
So on a sort of meta level, those flashbacks are that flashback interesting or off topic?
I love it.
Interesting.
Cool.
Interesting.
Interesting, and I feel like it really builds the whole story
Awesome.
in a very cinematic fashion.
Okay, good. Yeah, cool. All right. So what's next?
I'm going to send a message to some of my fellow street artist friends in the area.
Okay.
I want to see if there's any one particular area that is so, specifically I'm looking at the addresses that we found.
Okay.
And if there's any one particular area where they have not been able to get close, where it's been like very actively weird.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh, nice, good call.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to let that percolate for a minute. Anyone else have anything they want to do right now?
I'm gonna get a glass of water.
Okay.
I would like to look into the significance of those addresses. Is it just that they're out of the way, or?
Okay, good. So you're looking into that.
Mhm.
Anyone else have a pending action?
I'm going to go back over some of my footage and edit it so it is a terrible example of police brutality, what's wrong with the city, etc.
Yes.
It's a very good example of that. Okay, so you're editing that. Okay, so Lee, you find 2 things by making these sort of calls. And I'm picturing like calls for you right now with the level of cyberware you have are like super easy. You're like, that person, and a window opens, and then like you're gonna have conversations like almost rapid fire. So you talk to a few people, and you narrow it down to, you think, 2 buildings. Like there's this one couple of block area where let me double check that. Yeah, there's 2 areas that are pretty tense right now, and they're both areas that the artists when they go there like quickly in and out, and they avoid other people because like everyone in that area is just kind of violent. It's not a law and order comfortable part of the city. There's a couple of street gangs that kind of ride roughshod over those neighborhoods. However, in the last 24 hours, there's been a sort of a crackdown, and all those gangs are not on the streets, and no one is reporting that they saw anything happen. But they're like, streets are really quiet here and here, and they're usually not. Now they're really quiet. And then another artist says, "Oh yeah, I went there. There's drones all over the place on the rooftops. Just watch for that. Only recently." And then another artist kind of jumps in and says, "Oh hey, Lee, I think Pascal's trying to break into your house."
What a dick.
What?
Diva.
Yeah, he's pretty angry at you. I'm not sure why, but he's pretty pissed off. Anyway, good luck, Lee.
Thanks for the info.
All right, J5, you so you're looking for information on those addresses to try and narrow it down.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're looking through, and
Basically, what I'm looking for is an address that can, whatever weird criteria I come up with to try and contain Sigma. I want to find an address that can support that. So, like,
Nice.
if it has power requirements, or these kind of rooms already installed, and it's stuff like that. That kind of thing.
So you're starting to kind of do that calculus, and you're calling up like what you know about her so far, what you've learned so far, and as you're starting to try and conceptualize sort of her capacity for violence, and mayhem, and what it would take to actually stop her, you start to have a flashback. Dun, dun, dun.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So you are in this flashback. You don't have the AR, or you have your like regular implants before the upgrades, but you don't have that enhanced intense AR.
Right.
You are in an alleyway, or walking down a street, but you know that you're heading for this specific alleyway. That's not too far away, and let's see. How do you typically dress? If you were like going to a meeting that you think there was a potential for some violence, how would you be dressed and what would you be carrying?
Well, I'd be carrying my gun.
Mhm.
I'd be carrying a backup gun.
Okay.
And since I don't have the cool implants and stuff, I mean, I assume I have some sort of base implant, but not anything like as amazing as it is right now.
Right.
So probably some spare stuff with that. So if it's a meeting, if it's a street meeting, I wear like normal dude clothes.
Okay.
If it's like a business meeting where we're discussing payment for a job in a restaurant, then I would dress well.
Okay. So you set up a meeting, and with someone from Nakatomi Telecommunications, and you expected it to be the business suit meeting, but they insisted that it's the other one, and they gave you an address to meet them. So you're probably a little bit more street.
Okay. So like khaki pants, boots, hoodie.
Nice. So you're cruising along the street with your hoodie, and Sigma's walking next to you, and she's wearing combat boots, black cargo pants, a black leather jacket that comes like midway between knees and hips, and her hair is kind of like it's the comb over sort of thing that's half shaved underneath, and the hair is just kind of hanging down in a braid on the other side. And you know in this flashback that she's packing a pistol, but no other really heavy hardware. And the two of you are walking together, and she's lighting a cigarette as she's walking next to you. And she takes a quick draw and looks over at you and says, "What the fuck's your name again?"
That's nice.
Tom. Okay, Tom. What do you know about this asshole from Nakatomi?
Well, he's all business. I don't know why he wants to meet in the street here, but we're gonna do it. This isn't his normal thing.
Did you mention the things I told you to mention? Project Slaughterhouse?
Of course.
Okay. And the Mitsubishi crash a year ago?
Did you tell me to mention that?
Absolutely.
Then yes.
Nice. And she nods, and then she says, "Well, then he's the right guy. If he knew what those things meant, then he knows what we need to know." And she walks a little bit further, and she kind of stops for a minute and looks you up and down and says, "You seem like a nice guy, Tom. Why do you do this kind of work?"
Because fuck them, that's why.
She smiles at that and kind of does this look down, half smirk, look up, and says, "You're all right.
You're not so bad yourself."
What do you think the chances are this is a trap?"
60%. Seems a little weird. Meeting in street.
You give it better odds than me. And she flicks the cigarette to the side, and she says to you, "You armored?"
No.
"All right." They start shooting. "Stay behind me." And she starts walking for the alleyway again.
Best view in the city.
She turns and smiles prettily and flips you off, and then turns and walks back to the alleyway.
I just
I
laugh.
love her even more.
Me too.
And you walk into she walks in this alleyway, and you're like right behind her. And there's a guy dressed in a long trench coat in the alleyway. He looks corporate. And from your experience with Nakatomi, this is absolutely hired muscle. There's no way this guy is anything but. And he's kind of standing, not comfortably, like he's not relaxed, but he's standing with like complete confidence at the end of the alleyway. And if I have this here, Sigma says, "You want to take the lead, or you want me to?"
I'll go. Why not, right?
Right.
What did the kids say? YOLO?
YOLO.
That was way back in the day.
How old are you, Tom?
I'm pretty old. Sorry.
So remember, we need to find out who the corporate, who the executive this guy works for is, and we need to know if we can find out who else is benefiting from Project Slaughterhouse.
Okay. All right. I can do that.
She nods, and you walk up, and the corporate guy looks you up and down, and you see like a twinkling in his eye as his AR communicates something, and he says, "We are here. What did you want to talk about?"
Well, first of all, hello. My name's J5. How are you? And I stick my hand out.
He does not shake your hand, and he says, I think that they know who you are because you worked for Nakatomi in the past. So I'm going to compel that in the flashback that they know exactly who you are.
Okay.
If you want to resist that, because you're a rogue IT guy, like makes sense that they would have records about you. If you want to resist it, you can pay me a fate point, and they'll have no idea who you are. They'll just call you J5.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
that's totally fine. I would still answer that way though, or start things off.
Oh, totally. Don't feel like any of you that you are discouraging me or disappointing me by not taking a compel. They're there to complicate things, and part of the game is accepting them or denying them and kind of negotiating them. So I'm never going to have my feelings hurt when you say, "No, man, this guy totally doesn't know who I am."
Gotcha.
So instead, because he heard you, he says, "We know who you are, Mr. Wright, and we know the circumstances of your departure from Nakatomi. What we need to know is why you got into contact now, and what do you know about Project Slaughterhouse?"
Well, I guess then, sir, my first question is, who are you? Or who are you speaking for?
You're not the one who asks the questions, Mr. Wright. We are the ones who ask. You answer.
I see.
And you hear a quiet whistle from behind you, and you kind of glance over, and another two guards have entered the far end of the alleyway, or another two security types have entered the far end of the alleyway, and Sigma is just kind of lounging languidly against the wall, and she just kind of whistled to get your attention. And she lights another cigarette, and she's facing away from you. She's just staring down the two guys who just entered the alleyway.
Yep. Why don't you start first then? Why don't you tell me what you know so I don't repeat the information? I don't want to waste anyone's time.
The fact that you know that Project Slaughterhouse existed means that you're already a loose end that needs to be tied up. If you tell me what you know, maybe you walk out of this alleyway alive.
All right. I guess that's a good place to start. How about we play this game then? If you answer a question, I'll answer a question, and vice versa. So I'll start first. I'll give you an answer. How's that?
He doesn't move. You see like the flicker of AR again, and he just nods once.
All right. Project Slaughterhouse involved a lot of incubation tanks.
He tilts his head to the side, and he says, "This is a waste of time." And he goes for his gun. And like as he's going for his gun, what are you gonna do?
Is he bigger than me?
No, he's about your size. I mean, you're kind of a big guy, right? Do you work out?
No.
Then he's bigger than you.
Okay.
But he's not bulletproof.
I'll say whoa. Well, there's no reason for that. Relax.
You hear the sound of...
I say that very loudly so that Sigma knows what's going on.
Okay. As you say that, you hear the cracking of bones and a scream of pain and another like sort of half gurgling shout and another breaking bone.
Never mind. Draw my gun and shoot.
Okay. So you draw your gun, and while this guy is good, you're better. Like, you guys are just straight up badasses even before the upgrades. So like he's kind of slowly pulling his gun out, and you just kind of whip yours out and really quickly squeeze off a round, and you kill him or incapacitate him or what?
Incapacitate.
Okay. Where do you want to put the bullet?
In the shoulder of the arm that he was drawing his gun with.
Awesome. All right. He spins around and hits the ground, and you kind of move in to kick the gun away, and you catch at the corner of your eye the carnage that Sigma just created, and her running over, and she moves like nothing you've ever seen before. It's like this blurring flicker of motion, and then she's there, and almost so fast like the wind kind of whips past you, and she suddenly like is there, and then is crushing his other hand with her boot, and then looks over at you and says, "You okay, J5?"
I'm good. You can call me Tom.
Jesus.
So she kneels down, and she says, to you, even though she's looking at the guy kneeling on the ground, and says, "You have a problem with me hurting this piece of corporate trash, Tom?"
I just laughed. Oh, fuck no.
So she kind of picks up the gun, or actually she reaches inside his coat and pulls out a spare gun that she didn't know was there that he had, and she says to him, "I'm a fully enhanced combat cyborg. Every bit of muscle on my body has been replaced with a carbon fiber analog." And she crushes the gun in her hand.
Yeah.
And she says, "You're going to talk. All I need is one name. Just one name. And you walk out of here with a jaw." And she puts her hand like over the bottom of his face, almost sweetly and like gently, and says, "One name." Boop. And he says, "Graham Wyrick." And she says, "Good boy," and just kind of pats his cheek. And says to you, J5, "Tom,
Yeah.
you're probably in this now. I got some people I'd like you to meet."
All right.
And then the flashback ends.
Sounds good to me. Damn. I'm in love with the robot lady.
Yep, get in line.
All right. So I'm going to do this and do this.
Man, I botched that conversation.
Man, you were fine.
Fuck it.
Self-judgment is the beast. Do not go there. Carbon
It's my house, man.
muscles. That's a shitty house and you shouldn't live there.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. So carbon fiber muscles is her aspect revealed there. Okay, so you're back now in the present, and like so, summoning those thoughts and conceptions of how Sigma should operate in combat brings this memory of her disabling those people, and now you're pretty certain that there's only one place on the map, or you narrow it down to a couple places, and putting that together with what Lee has found, you're pretty sure you know which house, probably the safe house.
All right. I ping it loudly so everyone's paying attention. There, I think we need to go there.
Okay.
How much prep do you think we need to go there?
A lot? A little? I don't know. I don't know if we have a lot of time to do any prep. If they've got her, I don't know.
I agree. I don't know if anyone has. My apartment got blown up, so I don't have spare firepower. But if anyone's hiding machine guns, grenade launchers,
I have a couple guns at my place, but not an armory.
I don't know. You're a gun range redneck?
That's true.
Maybe you do have an armory.
I totally have an armory. Let's go to my house.
Nice. All right.
I'm modest, you know? I'm the most modest.
I am the most modest person you could even imagine.
I have rewards on my mantelpiece dedicated to my humility.
Very nice. Okay.
Wait.
And let's see if I can do this. And see if I can do this. Okay, so down the bottom there, I put a thing. The job. So it's to recover the lost. Atlas Corporation is the opposition, and the target is the Atlas Safe House. That may not be important, but I made it, so damn it, I'm using it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so actions right now. Go into J5's house. Anything you want to do with the people who are here before you leave? Or is it straight to J5?
Time is of the essence.
Yeah, I think we got.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
For me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Trying to think real fast. I think we're good.
Okay. So, as you guys are en route here, how are you getting there? Do you guys have a car? I forget.
We do now.
We have the van.
You had a van. That's right. Okay. So you're jumping in the van, and
Harold the Hoopty van.
boom. We call it the cyberpunk van. You head towards J5's place. J5, what's your place look like?
It is a nice place that is not well kept. Mostly because there's like the future equivalent of Doritos bags everywhere.
Cyber Doritos, I like to call them.
Cyber Doritos, yeah, you know.
Yep.
No advertising on the stream.
Nacho tech cheese. Yeah, but like it's a nice apartment, but there aren't a lot of actual furnishings because I don't really care about them. I just care about like my nerd equipment and my guns. That's pretty much it.
All right.
So like there's a couch, but it's mostly a desk and a TV and a bunch of monitors and a bunch of tech gear and stuff like that.
Okay. So, where do you keep your guns?
Under the floor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So you drive up to the apartment and you head up, and the team's kind of following you up there. And as you're about to unlock the door to go in, I like to offer a compel that there is something in here that because it can't rain all the time, but it does. That there's something in here that's going to complicate matters even further. And you're welcome to reject it or accept the compel and take another fate point.
No, bring it on, man.
Okay.
Bring it on. It's the third one I've taken tonight, right?
Oh,
Gareth,
hey, that many? Oh my
for the
god.
love of God.
All right, we got to get you into some fights here. Maybe that's Act 3. Okay. Very nice. Okay. So, to-do list. Oh, on the way in the van. Anyone doing anything in the van? Okay. So I'm going to have something happen in the van. I'm going to go back a little bit because I want to make sure I get everything on my agenda done tonight, if we have time. So as you're driving over there, Lee, you get a notification, a message from one of your artist friends, and says, Lee, I'm really sorry, but Pascal is.
Oh, that's right. You broke it.
I think he's showing your work, but I think he's claiming it for himself. I don't know. Did you do this? And then she opens an image and sends over like a streaming image to you, and what you see is a work of art in AR, and what you see is the images of a series of people, and they're sort of featureless people. They're just sort of the outlines of people, but one of them is standing with it's a sort of feminine form, and it's standing in AR, so it's like a 3D rendering of this. And she's standing with her head slightly bent and her hands slightly up like this, and then is cradling the head of someone else. And the figure is kind of transparent and doesn't really have a lot of color, but there are sort of blue veins, or like they look like nerves maybe, coming from the that woman's sort of brain. So you can see like the brain kind of highlighted in blue, and then it goes down the spine and it goes down her hands, and then it becomes really intense in her fingertips. And she's cradling this other head of a person who's kind of has their head slightly bowed a little bit, almost like maybe in sadness or in maybe surrender. And where the blue is touching the back of the neck, the blue is like dissipating a little bit, and it's red is kind of shooting through that brain and is really focused in like that point where the blue fingers are touching. There's this really intense knot of red, and then the red just kind of shoots down the spinal column. Standing back to back with that figure with the bowed head is and the one with the bowed head is a male figure. The next one back to back, like almost touching, like base of spine to base of spine, with that figure is a female figure with purple going up their spine, and then kind of branching out into their brain, and then the purple light is coming intensely from that figure's eyes and is like lighting, and she's holding one hand up, sort of like she's gesturing to something or presenting something. And that blue light from the purple light from the eyes is falling on a pure silver figure. It's a male, and they look almost half timid, but with like a strength to their spine that balances it. And while it's the same translucent, there's like veins of silver going up through the spine, and instead of going into the brain, it kind of branches out from the spine and then is on the outside of that figure, cradling the entire face in this mirror finish. And then standing with one hand on that figure's shoulder and another hand kind of extending along the entire group, like holding them all in a big hug, is another female figure that is all gold veins and gold musculature. It's the only one with like a visible musculature, and it's all gold, and it's like crawling all through her and then in her brain, and she's just kind of standing protectively over the others. And you don't remember making it, but you're pretty sure it's yours.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we know who all those people are too.
Yeah.
Then you do good work.
What do you want me to do, Lee? Is that yours?
That indeed is mine. And I think it's time to sever any artistic association with. You know what? It's not even worth saying his name anymore.
I got you, Lee. You're going to want to repair some sort of rebuttal when you got time.
I've got time. I've got time. Hey, J5.
Yeah.
Can I borrow you a second?
Yeah. What's up?
Oh.
I'm gonna ride his connections so that I can reach out and find Pascal.
Oh, we're gonna burn this guy to the ground.
Okay. So we're
Lovely. Pull the van over. I'm going to the bathroom.
So
This is on the drive over, yes?
yes, totally on the
Okay.
drive over. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not insisting that we stop. I'm just going to find his AR.
Okay. So that's fairly complicated, but you've got some time on the drive, and between the group of you, you're pretty good at shit like that. So and you've called him a couple of times, so you know his phone number and stuff. So you find him pretty easily, and yeah, you riding the information superhighway of J5, you do locate him, and he is standing in like a little park sort of area. And a park in the Metroplex, in the Boss Wash Metroplex, isn't like a real park. It's basically an area where there's only a couple of buildings, and it's slightly raised, and there's maybe was some grass there once upon a time, but now it's been all replaced with this artificial grass analog that's almost as good as real grass.
Yep.
Except it's all crappy grass. And he's standing in the middle of it, and he's using his AR to project your work into the AR of anyone who's walking by. So he's basically standing there, and he's got this like garish signature scrawled across it. That's his name, and it's like the only thing in that work that doesn't seem perfect to you.
All right, Lee, we got him. What do you want to do?
All right, I'm gonna ride his AR there.
Okay.
I am going to alter that signature so that it makes sure it says "big mistake,"
Nice.
and then I'm going to falter his AR so that he can appear. Because I know he likes to look awful fancy. Let's have him in a business suit,
Nice.
covered in logos.
Nice. Screaming sellout. I love it. Okay, cool.
Let's add 15 pounds to him too.
Nice. Okay. So you alter it, and you change the signature to big mistake. What are you going to do with your work? Are you going to leave it? Or are you going to mess with it? Are you going to take it? Are you going to delete it? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna alter it
Okay.
to a rather awkward image of Pascal naked,
Awesome.
not in a flattering way.
Not flattering way. Okay. So you do this, and the signature changes, and his eyes kind of get wide, and he starts kind of looking around, and then his AR starts to shift, and you kind of lock it in place, and he looks kind of like frustrated and annoyed at that, and then the bigger AR starts to shift and change, and this is like this bigger than life but smaller than life version of him, and he starts just getting angry, and he starts trying to turn off his AR and like cancel the image, but you guys, I assume, stop it and keep it turned on.
Yep.
This is gonna be on for a while.
Okay. And so you lock it and you put it in place, and he just starts like pacing, like he looks angry, like he wants to do something, and then people just start laughing, and he like takes 2 steps forward, like angry, and then like kind of wilts under their laughter, and then turns and runs, and because everything's in AR, it just follows him, and so he's running down the street with this thing just chasing him behind.
Naked Pascal chasing him.
Yeah. And the other artists, they all ping you with just their tag. So it's just a picture of their tag, and of each of their individual tag. And you know that's kind of like a respect between artists, like it's like at a jive hall or something. And a bunch of them kind of pop up. And in the aftermath of that, you how do you feel about that? Like angry. What else are you feeling about that? Is it just anger all the way down?
There's several. You can mess with my stuff, and you can get pissy in my face, but you don't take credit for my work.
Nice. So you feel like sort of righteous.
Yes.
A righteous anger. Okay, cool.
This is low. This is not how our people function.
Okay. So you have this sense of this is not how our people function. That's interesting. I like that. So that's like almost disappointment. Like we can do better than this.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I like it. So it's in that moment as you're kind of pulling back from that that trip through the AR that you remember that same sort of feeling of like just sort of disappointment, and you find yourself standing you find yourself in a memory, standing next to Sigma, and Sigma is she's dressed for work, so she's wearing like a bulletproof vest, and she's wearing a pistol, and has a sawed-off shotgun across her back, and she's sort of standing in the doorway of a hospital room, and you have altered her AR to appear like a nurse, and to a passerby, it would totally work as camouflage, but it wouldn't work really up close. But she's like that, and you are actually like in scrubs and dressed like you work at the hospital, and you have in your hand a device, and it looks a little like an Exocortex, and you've seen these before outside of people. They have the really kind of cheap external ones that are purely for AR, and this is not that. This is a very sophisticated external Exocortex. And you're standing in the doorway of this hospital room that only has one bed in it, and the AR in here is turned way down, and there's a bed behind a curtain about midway through the room. And Sigma looks over to you and says, "Are you sure you're up to this?"
Yeah, let's do it.
She nods and says, "Okay, I'll watch the door. Let me know when it's done. You should be over there." And you walk over and you pull the curtain back, and it makes that rasping sound that hospital curtains always seem to make. And behind it is a state-of-the-art hospital bed. And by state-of-the-art, I mean it's like almost like a tube. Like it's a tube with a window on it, and there's a bunch of wires and tubes that come out of that and kind of go to this mounted device on the wall. There's no gauges, there's no readouts. All that stuff's in AR, and you'd probably have to break in to get access to the AR. But you can look through the window, and through the window is a man. He's probably in his late 20s, and he looks terrible, like emaciated, long, ratty hair, unshaven, and he's just laying there. It looks like he's naked, like you don't see any like hospital gown or anything. So he looks for all the world like someone who's been like pickled almost. And he's just laying there.
Okay, I open it up.
Okay. So you touch it, and your AR interfaces with its AR. It takes a little bit of MacGyvering, but you manage to get the AR to activate and flare to life, and you look at all the readouts. And the name of the patient is Edward Dow, and he's 26 years old, and there's a whole bunch of neurological data, and you kind of skim through that, and it makes some sense to you, and you know that what's happening is his brain is maintaining information, but it's not able to communicate that information with the rest of his body, that the nerves are just degenerated to the point where there's no contact there. And according to his medical records, which you're now accessing, he's been in that state for about a decade. They've done what they can to slow the processes and to maintain the body in a state of life, but the degenerative disease is making it so that the body is failing. Like even though his heartbeat and respiration isn't getting those messages from his nervous system. So he's on death's door, and their prognosis is not good. They think they can keep him alive maybe for another couple of years, but not much more than that, and he's never going to recover.
Okay, on the one hand, I have the Exocortex, and I'm going to activate my interfaces with that.
Okay. It comes online.
Then with the other hand, I'm going to access whatever is currently running in him.
Okay. I'm sorry, say that last bit again. I didn't
I'm
hear
going to try and access what is currently running in
in the Exocortex?
in his.
In his. Okay, cool. So through the connection through the AR, you find that he does have an exocortex, but it's a pretty old one, and it's pretty broken down. The same disease that's affecting his brain's ability to communicate with itself is starting to impact the ability to communicate with the exocortex. So there's not a lot going on there, but you do manage to access it. And he's dreaming of a camping trip, and you get just these faint sort of sensory images of walking at night, holding a big comforting hand and looking up at the sky.
I'm going to start trying to copy him over.
Okay. You start the process, and the exocortex in your hand hums to life, and it starts. You can feel that information flowing, but every second of it, in order to get into the exocortex, has to go through you. So you kind of close your eyes for a minute, and you feel this entire kid's life pass through you, and you are left with these sort of impressions of a dad who just worked too much until it was too late, and a life spent mostly alone, but a sort of pride that his daddy's going to get people to the stars, that his daddy's going to make people fly, and all that information kind of flows through you, and you can't help but feel like this kid didn't get a fair shake, and you feel like you could do that. The world should be able to do better, but you capture all the information in the exocortex. And Sigma kind of comes over and stands on the opposite side of the capsule from you, and she says, "You okay, Lee?"
As okay as that can be.
Do you think it worked?
Yes. It's all in there.
Good. You okay with what we're doing so far?
The kid deserves this. He doesn't deserve to be trapped in there any longer.
Okay. She nods and says, "I know we're asking you to do things that you never expected to have to do, but I'm glad you're in this with us."
Thanks. Certainly better work than programming fancy terraces and therefore well-to-do assholes.
She nods at that and says, "We may not be able to change the world, Lee, but we're going to try like hell."
And right.
All right. And then your flashback ends, and you are back in the van, the van as it's rolling to a stop outside of J5's place. Any conversation about that, or are we moving into J5's house?
Damn.
I'm in sort of like a stunned sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah, unusually quiet.
Okay. So now we know that Sigma has the aspect. You can't save them all, but I can save this one. And you head up into J5's place. So, as described before, J5's place is pretty Spartan utilitarian. There's stuff around. It's basically just a storage place for all his cool stuff. You open the door, and the door was sealed as you left it. So it's you're pretty sure it's secure. And you get everybody in, and you close the door. And then, what do you guys do?
All right. I like push crumpled paper. Well, we don't really use paper. I push like soda cans off the couch and here, have a seat. And then I'll find the secret button underneath the couch near the base of the wall, hit that, and then the floor in front of the couch slides away, and that's where my armory is.
Okay.
And have a seat, relax, load up if you want to.
Well.
We got stuff to do. We got a lot of work ahead of us.
So as the floor sort of peels to the side, and you're giving this everybody arm up speech,
It's gonna
there's
be empty.
Nope, it's full of guns. It's full of guns, but not quite as many guns as you were expecting. There's definitely a couple that you must have gotten rid of. But in the space where those rifles went, there's a box. It's about 7 feet long, 3 feet wide, 2 feet deep. Looks like a metal crate of some kind.
Oh.
Hold on a minute.
That's full of guns, right?
Definitely, I
see,
think.
we have a hobby.
I'm just holding this for someone. Don't even worry about that. Here, take this gun, and here, have some ammo, and yeah. Are you hungry? Great. I closed the thing real fast.
So in terms of guns, like you're loaded for bear. Like you have like assault rifles, submachine guns, and there's some guns in here that are like better than you expected. Like there's some military spec weapons in here that you're like, oh wow, I've always wanted one of those. Where the hell did I get that? And so there's like, from here on out, you can have that like Desperado guitar case full of guns sort of thing, where as long as you have time to access the arsenal you're toting around, you can come up with almost any weapon.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Okay. So you then close it back up. You're not going to investigate the box, and you're going to grab some food.
I want to see if...
So, like, I could eat, but I admit we're not doing it on a corpse, right?
Well, I don't know. It seems to me, Jax, that curiosity killed the cat. So I think
Yes,
you can't leave this one
there's
alone.
totally a story here, and
Damn it.
Awesome. Okay, so you can take a fate point, and in exchange for that fate point, you need to get at the bottom of what's in that box. What's in the box? Tell me what's in the box. No.
so I'll start out just saying that that's not we're not going to be having dinner on a body, right? You do
No.
know what's in the box, right?
Yeah, I do. Of course I do.
You're a shit liar over at AR, for the record.
Oh, hold on a minute. I'll be right there. I go to the kitchen.
Okay.
Take like 6 shots.
Okay. Did you say you opened the box?
And then I'll come back and open it, unless it's already opened.
It's probably just, about to be.
Okay. So you come back in, and Jax has found the button to open the floor again, and it's opening as you walk back in.
Oh, make yourself at home.
This
All right.
much. Make myself comfortable.
Nice.
All right. This is what's in it, and I'll just open it.
Okay. So you open up the box, and inside is the corpse of Vasily Dow.
Well, fuck.
It's been shot a couple times, chest mostly. It's been wrapped in plastic, and it looks like it's been treated with something that's slowly sort of liquefying most of it. And you think if you left it in the box long enough, you'd probably just have unidentifiable protein soup.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm reconsidering dinner.
That's fair. I was not expecting this, and I'll be honest with you. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So... Wow.
Okay, I want to get as up close as one's stomach can really handle, and get some zoomed in rather than up close shots, and get all the forensic evidence, crime scene photography, such as it were.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you really weird me out with that camera thing. Anyway, so let's talk about this for a moment. I know we don't have a lot of time here, but all right. The story I'm putting together in my head is that this guy was dead. I don't think we killed him, and then we had Sebastian replace him to get into a place that we fought our way out of. So far, does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a question of who killed him.
Yeah, that is a good question, and it does look like it's me, doesn't it?
I mean, maybe you couldn't have the police over, right? That would make sense.
Well,
but yeah, it's entirely possible we murdered this guy.
Well, that's neat. I can't believe I don't remember this. This is like I'm getting obviously frustrated, and I just sort of sit for a moment, and I'm obviously just trying to recall
Okay.
how that
Well, you
happened.
certainly have the guns to have done it here, which is actually a compliment. But I mean, does there look like?
I wouldn't have done it here. That'd be stupid.
It all sort of smacks of being stupid, though. I mean,
I mean, we couldn't have the
why
body
on
being
earth,
found if we're going to replace
kill
him,
a
right?
man, would you?
James,
Yes.
I'm gonna access my camera system,
Oh, nice.
my own security footage,
Nice.
and try to find out when this thing was put here, by whom, and in what circumstances.
I love it. Very smart. Okay. So here's the tricky part, though. Do you think you're clever enough to have deleted the evidence?
Yes.
Okay.
I hate
Damn
myself.
it!
So what I'm going to have you do is make 2 clever rolls.
I'm fighting myself. Awesome.
Yeah, you are. The first clever roll, or no, probably careful, right? Yeah, the first one is careful, and the second one is clever.
Yeah.
So you're going to roll careful to see if you hit it well, and then you're going to roll clever to see if you can discover it.
Okay. This is my careful roll. Boom.
Nice.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that I'm good at things.
Yeah, you are pretty careful, huh? Would you say that you are?
I definitely know this system.
I was just going to say that, but I don't think. I mean, that helps you actually find out, but doesn't actually help you hide it.
I think it does both, which is a wash, unfortunately.
Well, it says overcome. So the first one would be create advantage, and the second one would be overcome. So you get the bonus on the second roll.
Okay.
Good for you. So go ahead and roll the clever one, and take a +2 on it. 4. You tied.
Spend a fate point.
Yeah. What are you going to invoke?
So with these, you invoke a stunt or an aspect.
Aspect.
Aspect. Rogue IT expert.
Yeah, you're pretty good at this. I know I want to spend one of my fate points to invoke your own aspect against you, but
That's fair.
down that path lays madness.
Yeah.
So with that fate point, you succeed, and what you see is you and let's see, which of you players has the lowest careful score?
Not this motherfucker.
That might be me.
Careful of 0 for Jax. I think that's a winner. Yep, it's a winner. Okay, so you see J5 and Jax carrying in a body that is it's kind of been loosely wrapped in what looks like trash bags. And J5, do you have audio or just visual?
Audio. Yeah, audio as well.
So you're swearing like a motherfucker. You're like, "Oh my fucking god! I can't believe this fucking happened, kid." You can't do an accent. And you're just cussing up a storm. And Jax is right behind you. She's swearing too. And what the fuck are we gonna do? And the two of you like wrestle this body in, and you leave it on the floor, and you're both kind of staring at it. And you look at each other, and Jax says, "What the fuck are we gonna do?" And J5 says, "We're gonna fucking call Sigma is what we're gonna do." And
say that.
And a few minutes later, like you see the two of you like kind of like pacing around and not talking, but you might be talking a lot via AR. You're not,
Right.
You know, you don't have a recollection of that.
Right.
And then a few minutes later, Chrome or Sebastian and Lee arrive with Sigma, and they carry in the big crate, and they put the crate on the ground, and Sigma says, "Take a good look, Sebastian. I guess you're going in."
Delightful.
And yeah, you say it delightful, and you get a good look at Vasily Dow's face, and Sigma says, "I don't know what the fuck we're going to do with the kid now, but we'll fucking deal with that after." And she single-handedly lifts up the body and puts it in the crate, and says, and kind of leans down and closes Dow's eyes, and says, "Sorry, old man." And then she nods at Lee, and Lee pulls out like like an aerosol sort of thing and cracks the top, drops it in the case, and she closes the case and says, "You're gonna have to put this under your floorboards, Tom." And Tom says, "Yeah, I know." And you do it. And then all of you leave. All
What's
of
the
you.
timestamp on that?
It's about 48 hours ago.
Okay.
And you all grab guns, and so to make room for the crate, and you take the guns with you when you all leave.
We have had a busy few days.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody okay? I know things are weird, and we're all figuring it out, but we've still got work to do.
I'm pretty sure we didn't kill him, so I'm actually feeling better.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you guys are sort of processing that and making some sense of it, if you, Jax, could talk to anyone in the world right now, who would you want to talk to? So as you're kind of thinking, like, God, I just wish Sigma were here. Like, that would just clear up everything. And I'm starting to think I'd feel a little better about everything if Sigma were here. And as you're thinking that, you start to have a memory. And your memory is in your apartment. And you're in your apartment, sitting in the, like, what's your apartment like? What was your apartment like?
Right. It's definitely kind of has the vibe of someone who doesn't have the means she used to and is still kind of trying to hold on to the nice stuff, but it's all knockoffs or a little, worn past where it should have been replaced. But definitely has the air of someone who, has read the design magazines, even if it's more the Pinterest version of the design magazines.
Nice. Where in this apartment do you feel the most comfortable?
Probably out in the living room on sort of like a love seat, curled up, nice reading lamp, big impressive television.
Okay. Is there a seat that's like opposite that someone would sit in to talk to you?
Yeah, there's a sort of overstuffed chair.
Perfect. Okay, so you're sitting there, and there's a chime in your AR that someone is requesting entry to your home. You open up the security window, and you see Sigma, and she's.
Oh yes.
But in this memory, like you kind of know her, like you know her a little bit. You have this familiarity, but not the sort of familiarity that you feel now.
Okay.
But she looks like upset. So she's looking down and kind of scowling, and then she looks up at the place where the AR, the camera is, and she just kind of does an up nod and says to the AR, "Got a minute?"
Sure, come on in.
She comes in and closes the door behind her, and she walks in, and as she's walking in, she's taking off that sort of half coat that she was wearing, and it was raining out, so the coat's sort of all wet, and her hair is kind of wet and plastered as well. And she kind of absentmindedly shrieks the hair back and looks around for a place to put the coat, and says, "I don't want to fuck up any of your stuff."
I'll take it. Do you want tea or something to drink, or?
Yeah, alcohol? Anything.
Yes. I'll pour us each something.
Okay. And she kind of collapses into that overstuffed chair, and again, it looks like she's kind of dealing with something that she doesn't want to deal with. And when you come back around and you hand her the drink, she looks up to you and says, "So you get the interview.
Okay.
But it's right now, and it doesn't air until we're done with all of this shit.
Fair.
And this means that you're in till the end."
Deal. I'll sit down and fire up everything. Just the light, so she looks good.
She takes a drink and says, I think you're worth it. But fuck you for making me talk about this. You want to start in Rio?
Yeah, let's start there.
All right. So there were 8 of us. We were in 2 cars. Security detail for sorry, I blanked on the proper noun. We were running security for Neurolab. We were escorting a quality analysis tech into a location. Neurolab was running a charity operation in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. They were offering cheap implants, cheap neural implants, cheap or free even, to all the people there. They managed to mass produce a pretty sound Exocortex, and they were making it pay for itself by taking research data from the volunteers who were being implanted with them, and also streaming nothing but advertisements and crap to them 24/7. But they got to see what the brain looks like and responds to their ads, so they were making some revenue from that. The rumor was that one of the executives in charge of that, something called Project Centamanes. Anyway, he was gone rogue, and the QI guy was supposed to investigate it, find out what was going on. So we took the 2 SUVs into the favelas. I was in the front one, 3 guys, the QA guy, 4 of us in the back. It was going pretty normal until about a block out. Then the improvised explosive devices went off, flechettes all over the place. We rolled over. The van behind us was taken out almost entirely. I can still see their blood and their corpses. I remember them all like they were my brothers. RBG, Tall Set, X-Girl, Tiger Planet. Bearded Spider took some flak through the arm. Couldn't use it. I pulled him from the wreckage. I don't know. I thought we were clear. Dragged him a couple steps. Had the QI guy over one shoulder. Shotgun in my hand. And then they started coming. I didn't even know they were a threat at first. It was just people. Just people. No weapons. They weren't dressed like soldiers. They were just civilians. Fucking civilians. And they came at me. They came at us hard. Like they were possessed. No weapons except for what they could grab off the ground.
Did they act like it? I understand they were attacking, but were they attacking competently?
Not specifically, no. They were just coming at us. But there were a lot of them. The favelas, they're people on top of people. And it's bad there. So we told them to stop. We told them to desist. I opened fire. I killed one. They didn't stop. They kept coming. I kept shooting. The rest of the team went down. Big Joe, Blue Stocking, Doomscape, all of them dead. Piled under a mountain of flesh, torn apart. I ran out of ammo, and I just kept fighting. They tore the technician from my arms, killed him, tore him apart, and I just kept fighting. I had blood up to my elbows. And she looks down like at her hands as she's saying that, and then looks up again and says, "It wasn't like I was fighting people. It was like they were puppets. Like something was driving them. And I was next. I was going to go down next." And then someone contacted me. Rostam. He started feeding satellite imagery into my AR. Started showing me where the bogeys were. And she kind of looks up at this, and she is way too tough to cry. But she looks back down and says, "And it showed me, they showed me, which ones were compromised, and which ones were not, which exocortexes had taken them over, and which were just people. So I didn't have to kill quite so many to get out. But I did. I got out. And I reported back to Atlas, and I told them what had happened. And they said, "Good job, soldier." And I realized I didn't want to work for Atlas. I didn't want to work for Neurolab. That those people that I had killed, they were just people, but they were puppets. And my whole life working for the Corps, from the day that I was inducted into the armed forces up to that very moment, I had been nothing but a puppet either. And I'm nobody's puppet. Nobody's. So Rostam has this idea that maybe we can change things. That maybe there's something out there, some part that came from this Project Slaughterhouse thing that can change the way that things are going in this world. So I'm not going to stop till I find it. Are you coming?
Count me in. That's going to be a hell of a lead, let me tell you.
When all's said and done. Until then, nothing goes out.
It's fair.
She nods and she kind of goes to push herself to her feet, and she kind of cocks her head to the side, and you hear shattering glass. And she moves like this blinding speed, and she grabs something out of the air and tosses it in the corner, and then grabs you and throws herself like over on top of you, and fire explodes through the apartment. And then the flashback ends, and you're back in J5's room with all the guns. Oh, I forgot to show this. This is what the favelas look like.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Cool. All right. So the four of you are there, holding guns, sitting in J5's apartment around the corpse of Vasily Dow. What's next?
Yeah, let's go fuck some shit up and get her back.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fuck these people, man. Fuck them. Let's go. We gotta get that lady back.
So the last aspect of hers is, I am nobody's puppet. Boom. And we're going to stop there for tonight. That's 3 hours.
Oh my god, James.
Oh, this is so much fun, thank you.
Yes, it's a hoot.
Nice. Hope the flashbacks weren't too much downtime for everybody else. I know
No, I really enjoyed getting to see them all.
I think it's great. I
Yeah, and
really-
it came together really interestingly with what we learned in the early flashbacks versus coming together at the end. Ugh.
Oh, awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Rock on. So we're scheduled to do one more next Friday. And
Already.
our hope is that my hope is to wrap this up then. We're in shouting distance, but it might go one more. I'm not totally sure about that. So we can discuss that and see what we want to do with that.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Sounds awesome to me. So I didn't mean to interrupt here, but before we go, I wanted to talk a little bit about the people we have here and some of the awesome things they might want to say about themselves. For example, Mr. Nathaniel Stilgo is an accomplished author and has a book, and you should tell people about your website or your book, and then do stuff like that. I don't know. Promote yourselves. Be awesome. Or promote a charity or something. Or just say that your hair looks great today. I don't know. But Nate, you go first. No pressure.
Yeah, I've written a science fiction series called The Cloud9 Chronicles. It's post-apocalyptic steampunk, based loosely off a character I played in a LARP. And the people who've read it have said they're pretty good. Action-oriented, coming-of-age tales, dark science. They were a lot of fun to write. But anyway, the first one is called Some Terrible Bad Luck, and the second one is called Some Hard Nights in Stormtown. And they're both available on lulu.com.
Say that website again.
Lulu.com. LULU. And if you're interested, either hit me up or check it out. And if you read them, I hope you enjoy them.
You can find Cloud9 Chronicles on Facebook.
It's true. We have a Facebook page. We're top of the line.
Awesome. All right.
Nice.
Anybody else? Or anything else, Nate? Did you have anything else?
No, my internet connection is unstable.
You want to talk about a bakery or no?
Um,
You don't have to.
I'm the owner and sole employee of Laughing Oak Bakery, which is hopefully going to be officially open in the next 2 months. We're waiting on final inspections, but specialize in all sorts of very tasty things. For example, one of my best sellers is called the Faith in Humanity Wrap.
Truth in advertising, people.
Yeah, seriously,
They're
I've had
amazing.
these and they are really just, they change your life. Like they're salted caramel brownies or something like that. They're just yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, it's a business run out of our home to help support our family. We're laughingoakbakery.com. The website is live and you can read about who we are and what we're doing.
Nice. Sarah, you got anything you want to talk about?
None for me, other than that you should all read Nate's book and eat Aaron's brownies.
Yeah, you should. So my name is James Marston, and I am owner and operator of Fifth Gate LARP. I'm entering in my last year of my arc there. It's fifthgatelarp.com. I'm just telling you so that I have something to say. I'm also, in my secret side life, I'm a therapist, but I'm not sure that advertising here is great because I already have like a dual relationship with all you guys whom I love because you're part of Rage Nation. So I should also be your therapist.
Yes.
But that's me. And my hope, I think, in the future is to do stuff like this on Rage's channel for the foreseeable future and maybe write some stuff and put it out on the internet. So
Awesome.
thanks. And thank you, Rage, for letting this happen.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
It is my pleasure more than anyone's. I think I'm getting the most benefit out of all this, so thank you guys. Yeah, this has been a blast. All right, I think that's said. I think we're gonna wrap it up here tonight. I'm gonna sign off with you guys, and then I'll sign off with everyone else. So,
Bedtime.
bedtime.
Good night. Good night. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Good
you guys
night.
very much. We'll talk to you later.
See you next week.
How do I quit this thing?
No.
Yeah, goodbye. Goodbye forever. All right, guys. All right, guys, that was it. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you all had fun. I had an absolute blast. This was a highlight of the month. So for note, in case you guys didn't catch it, next week, next Friday, this Friday coming up, not today, obviously. This Friday coming up is going to be probably the last installment, but there might be one more. So we'll have to see. What is going to happen is as soon as I get done here tonight, I'm going to put this video up on YouTube and I'll have it in my Twitch channel as well. So that you guys can access it if you want. If not, that's fine too. It's all good. It's all good. So I'm going to take off. Thank you all for being here. I'll be back again on Sunday if you guys want to hang out and play some more XCOM 2 with me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to take off. You guys have a great night. Thank you for being here. I hope you had a good time. I sure did. It should be obvious because, oh my God, Natalie Dormer. Jesus Christ. Anyway, thank you guys for everything. We'll talk to you later. Peace out, guys. Later.
You don't know the power of the dark side. The power of the dark side. You don't know the power of the dark side. You Power